The Bowmore Black Bowmore? Or perhaps the exquisite 35-year-old blended whiskey? The more she contemplated, the greater her anticipation grew for Jiang Yuan's enigmatic whiskey. Jiang Yuan, not an inexperienced young man, was well aware that wooing a lady requires a gradual approach. Much like the art of fishing, this endeavor is a prolonged battle. One must carefully select the bait and master the timing of the catch. It is essential to avoid hasty actions that might lead to revealing one's vulnerabilities, which could result in an unfavorable outcome. Before long, they found themselves at the end of their 2 bottles of red wine. Without hesitation, Miss Tang gracefully approached the wine rack of Ch. Tomargo and retrieved 2 bottles of approximately 60-year-old red wine. Chapter 196. A comfortable indulgence. Jiang Yuan was, in truth, a connoisseur of fine wines. Alas, the heart of an adult sometimes feels as though a great hand is tightly gripping it. In those moments, memories surge forth like a relentless tide. Only a fine bottle of wine can offer a modicum of relief to his beleaguered heart. Moreover, every bottle gracing Miss Tang's esteemed collection is undoubtedly a world-renowned vintage. With each sip of red wine in this candid gathering, Jiang Yuan savored the rich aromas and the velvety texture, akin to silk caressing his palate. Upon finishing, he would close his lips and inhale through his nose, feeling the lingering bouquet rise gracefully from the base of his tongue. Unbeknownst to him, Jiang Yuan was becoming increasingly intoxicated by the ambience of this gathering. His inhibitions loosened, and his speech grew bolder. "The whiskey I possess is the limited edition from Islay," he declared, his voice slightly elevated. "Have you heard of it?" Miss Tang's immediate reaction to his proclamation was skepticism. She suspected he was merely boasting under the influence. The notion of a limited edition Islay whiskey was nothing short of extraordinary. It was rumored that the bottle was crafted from pure crystal, adorned with 2 gold bars, 500 diamonds, and 300 rubies. Such an ostentatious luxury was beyond her reach, a treasure she had yet to even catch a whisper of. Even the Laos Verres she pursued had yielded some leads after extensive searches across 5 nations. However, the Islay whiskey was a myth, an elusive legend shrouded in mystery, with nary a hint of information to be found. Surely he must be exaggerating, Miss Tang pondered, her thoughts tinged with disbelief. Such a bottle should have long since vanished from existence. Yet, she maintained her decorum, refraining from bluntly challenging Jiang Yuan. After all, it was not uncommon for a man to boast when he had indulged in drink. She was not the type to be overly forthright, as it could dampen the mood. While men boast, a wise woman knows to smile graciously and deftly steer the conversation away from such topics. The secret of this gathering now falls to me. Tang Qinshin mused before resolutely continuing. The first person who dared to challenge me in drinking was Sun Yunj. However, the Sun family is simply unbearable, especially her cousin. I never wish to see any of them again. As she recounted these bygone grievances, a fierce intensity flickered across her features, as if she longed to confront them directly. Though Jiang Yuan's spirits were lifted, and he felt a pleasant inebriation, a thread of clarity remained. He recognized that should he heed her words, he might unwittingly become embroiled in the fierce rivalries of the capital's elite. Such conflicts were battles of titans. While he did not consider himself weak, he acknowledged that he could not yet rival the time-honored powerhouses of wealth, unless he allowed time to fortify his own foundations, gathering a measure of strength. He could then stand unafraid before the so-called aristocracy of the capital. Meanwhile, Miss Tang found herself slightly intoxicated as well. The secrets shared became increasingly abundant, and with each revelation, her boldness grew. The members of the Sun family are despicable. Not only did they deceive my brother, but they also intended to swindle me. Fortunately, my wits preserved me from their clutches. Sun Yunj's cousin possesses a certain cunning. Over the past few years, they have ventured into the gaming industry, specializing in highly lucrative games, amassing over 100 billion in foreign currency, a feat not to be underestimated. Recently, there have been rumors that the Sun clan is planning significant undertakings, intending to reap the rewards from enterprises they planted years ago. As the saying goes, in vino veritas. Perhaps it is the long-held repression that prompted Miss Tang to speak more freely as her inebriation deepened. Indeed, when in the company of confidant, 1,000 cups seem insufficient. Her 2 greatest passions in life are the piano and fine wine, both of which are splendidly provided by Jiang Yuan. He has gifted her a grand piano, the Emperor Heinz, and a bottle of the illustrious billionaire's wine. Not to mention, Jiang Yuan is also willing to reach out to the renowned Master Chun to assist his cousin with her heart condition. In her heart, Jiang Yuan embodies a kindred spirit, someone from her own circle, Thus, she gradually began to unveil her innermost thoughts in his presence, which only served to astonish him further. Beijing is an enormous stage, teeming with talents and financial resources that are unparalleled elsewhere. In recent years, the Sun family has shifted its focus to the gaming sector, investing exorbitantly to recruit a myriad of skilled individuals. It is said that they have assembled a formidable team of experts to serve their interests. In essence, they possess both wealth and human resources. After all, Beijing is the heart of the Dragon Kingdom, a confluence of the nation's most elite talents and countless affluent merchants. The Sun family stands out among these illustrious clans, yet they're also notorious for their ruthless nature, exhibiting a brazen disregard for ethical conduct, steeped in savagery and bloodshed. Tang Qinshin recounted tales of the Sun family in Beijing with the familiarity of cherished anecdotes, while Jiang Yuan took mental notes of the information that might prove useful in the future. Initially, this was a session of candor, a mutual sharing of secrets. However, as their spirits lifted with each passing drink, they found themselves reveling in the moment without dwelling on seriousness. Jiang Yuan, far from being a dull companion, adeptly entertained her with amusing stories, casting them as secrets for her amusement. With a few light-hearted exchanges, he succeeded in bringing a radiant smile to Miss Tang's face, her joy uncontainable. Every woman is, in truth, easily amused. The crux lies in her willingness to be charmed. As glasses of red wine continued to flow, the two gradually succumbed to the haze of intoxication. In a fleeting moment, the two gazed into each other's eyes, sensing an indescribable allure lingering between their brows. The atmosphere gradually transformed, becoming somewhat enchanting. It was unclear when it began or who initiated it, but the table laden with wine began to tremble as if shaken by a sieve, swaying continuously. It was a most delightful sensation. Chapter 197. Yao Wenwen's sister. The following day, the Lamborghini cruised along the road leading back to the airport in Nanjing. News had reached him that the Yi family in Antique Street was in turmoil. Yi Ran was a woman of considerable significance to Jiang Yuan, and he could not possibly remain indifferent. Thus, he resolved to return to Nanjing and address matters concerning Yi Ran. Seated in the passenger seat of the Lamborghini, he gazed leisurely at the retreating scenery outside the window, feeling quite content. The previous day's events were enchanting, almost dreamlike. Yet, upon awakening, the dream left its mark. He radiated vitality, as though illuminated by a spotlight, infused with a fresh surge of energy. The driver, Yao Wenwen, chuckled delightfully. "Boss, did something wonderful happen yesterday? You seem quite different today." Her keen observation struck Jiang Yuan, who maintained his composure and replied earnestly, "No, nothing at all. Do you sense something amiss?" Yao Wenwen turned slightly, scrutinizing Jiang Yuan with intent. "I can't quite pinpoint it, but it feels akin to the exhilaration of discovering I scored over 600 on my college entrance exams." At her words, Jiang Yuan nearly choked on his own surprise. It was evident that Yao Wenwen had mischievously played a trick on him. "I never realized you were such an academic overachiever," he remarked, astonished. In Jiang Yuan's eyes, Yao Wenwen was undoubtedly an exceptional housekeeper, excelling in appearance, physique, and practical abilities. Yet, he was taken aback to learn of her academic prowess. As the conversation shifted to this topic, a glimmer of pride sparkled in Yao Wenwen's eyes. "Though a hero may not boast of past glories, who says a heroine cannot?" she quipped. "In my day, I was quite the renowned academic." Jiang Yuan, curious, inquired, "I recall you graduated from Nanjing University. With such scores, why not pursue your studies in the capital?" The capital was not only the most prosperous region in Longhua, but also the epicenter of wealth and prestige. Advancing there would undoubtedly surpass any opportunities in Nanjing. Many aspired to study in the capital, yet Yao Wenwen had opted out for personal reasons. Upon this topic, she adorably stuck out her tongue. "It was because Nanjing University offered me so much." Embarrassed, she continued, "When I applied to universities, my family situation was not ideal. I had an older sister and a younger sister who needed financial support. Nanjing University provided me with generous terms, including a full scholarship and a substantial amount of financial aid." Jiang Yuan felt a pang of sympathy for his housekeeper. She had clearly possessed greater opportunities, but had willingly sacrificed them for the sake of her sisters, in exchange for their stable lives. This young woman displayed remarkable understanding and admirable character. Jiang Yuan, unable to restrain his feelings, tightened his embrace around her shoulders. Yet, Yao Wenwen laughed heartily, saying, "Don't do that. Although I feel a twinge of regret deep down, my greatest wish is for my sister and younger sister to live well." Jiang Yuan responded with a smile, The bond between you sisters is truly commendable. Yao Wenwen straightened her back, asserting, of course. When they heard I was catching a flight back to Nanxing today, they specifically came to the airport to see me off. Jiang Yuan, momentarily taken aback, inquired, "Are they also from Xiamen?" Yao Wenwen nodded. "Why didn't you tell me?" He asked. "You never asked," she retorted. It turned out that during the days Jiang Yuan was occupied with matters, Yao Wenwen had already reunited with her sisters. Naturally, upon hearing about her return to Nanxing, they wanted to bid her farewell. The Lamborghini sped along, and soon, Jiang Yuan and Yao Wenwen arrived at Xiamen Airport. Shortly thereafter, they would board their flight back to Nanxing. From a distance, Jiang Yuan spotted a pair of sisters who had braved the scorching sun to send Yao Wenwen off. Due to the poor air quality, both sisters wore masks that concealed their features. Nevertheless, Jiang Yuan felt a slight sense of awe within him. Yao Wenwen's sisters belonged to a slender and graceful type of woman, characterized by their delicate frames and alluring curves. Their exposed arms and heart-shaped faces were exquisite in their diminutive charm. In the realm of conventional beauty, these women appeared somewhat fragile, evoking a sense of vulnerability. Yet they possessed an enchanting quality that stirred affection. Though they had their flaws, particularly concerning their physique, in Jiang Yuan's eyes, this was not a detriment. In fact, such figures only enhanced their elegance, lending them an ethereal quality. To exaggerate, Jiang Yuan perceived these women as treasure troves, akin to celestial beings. Marvelous, he mused, although he had yet to discern their true visages. He was certain of one thing. These women undoubtedly aligned with his preferences. Even his first love, Sun Tingting, bore a resemblance to this type, slender and refreshingly unique, which he found utterly appealing. Particularly, the younger sister possessed an even more ethereal presence than her elder sibling. Upon catching sight of them, Yao Wenwen rushed forward, brimming with excitement, eager to greet her dear friends. However, amidst her enthusiasm, she remained mindful of Jiang Yuan. After exchanging pleasantries with her sisters, Yao Wenwen introduced him, saying, "This is my boss, Jiang Yuan." Then, turning to Jiang Yuan, she added, "These are my sisters. My older sister is Yao Weiwei, and my younger sister is Yao Qianqian." As they drew closer, Jiang Yuan gained a clearer view of the younger sister's appearance. Yao Qianqian's bangs were exquisitely styled, forming a beautiful arc. Her pair of starry eyes sparkled, reminiscent of a lost fawn's gaze. Jiang Yuan graciously extended his hand, clasping Yao Qianqian's delicate fingers, and smiled. "It's a pleasure to meet you." Although Yao Qianqian was young, she exuded a rare maturity. The adage that poor children mature early held true in her case. Even in the presence of Jiang Yuan, the handsome heir, Yao Qianqian displayed no particular reaction. With a polite smile tinged with a hint of distance, she remarked, "You must be Sister Wenwen's boss. I truly appreciate your care for her." Jiang Yuan could distinctly sense that Yao Qianqian was akin to an impenetrable block of ice. Yet, when she glanced at Yao Wenwen, her eyes radiated an unspoken warmth and sincerity. She was a girl who appeared cold on the outside, but was fervent within. Based on Jiang Yuan's experience, once such a girl melted, her passion would burn brightly. Chapter 198. The Lesson of the Wealthy Man. As Jiang Yuan gazed upon the three sisters of the Yao family, he couldn't help but feel a surge of admiration. Yao Wenwen was a striking figure, not only blessed with a graceful physique and beauty, but also possessing a keen intellect. Since she had taken on the role of his housekeeper, she had ensured that Jiang Yuan was comfortably attended to, earning his sincere commendation. Yao Qianqian and Yao Weiwei were equally enchanting, their fair complexions and bright smiles rendering them the epitome of beauty, likely to be the belle of any academic institution. This family was undoubtedly endowed with exceptional genes. It is often said that beauty can bring misfortune. Although Jiang Yuan held reservations about this notion, as historically, rulers have become infatuated with beauty and neglected their duties, ultimately blaming women for their misfortunes. This perspective unjustly cast a shadow on many beautiful women. Nevertheless, it is an undeniable truth that where beautiful women reside, rivalries often ensue, with men vying for their attention. Observing Yao Qianqian, Jiang Yuan couldn't help but mutter to himself, "How many men will inevitably vie for her affection, and which unfortunate soul will ultimately win her heart?" This thought flickered through his mind, leaving Jiang Yuan a bit perplexed. Was he, perhaps, captivated by this young lady? It seemed that some individuals were fated to be one another's nemesis. Born under the same star, this may be a manifestation of destiny. At that moment, Yao Weiwei bowed gracefully to Jiang Yuan and smiled. "We often hear women speak of you. Thank you for your unwavering care for her over this time." Jiang Yuan, returning the gesture, replied, "There is no need for such gratitude. It is merely my duty." In truth, she has performed her role exceptionally well. The warmth of Yao Weiwei's demeanor fostered a delightful atmosphere of conviviality. Just then, a Ferrari 458 came to a halt nearby, its driver rudely honking incessantly. Jiang Yuan furrowed his brow. The ambience here was so pleasant, yet an odd individual had chosen to disrupt it with such boisterousness. Had he lost his mind? As the door of the Ferrari swung open, a bald man emerged, his face adorned with an arrogant grin and an air of entitlement. However, his appearance left much to be desired. His features were unappealing, with a round face, drooping ears, and a menacing glare that was quite unsightly. Yao Wenwen's expression shifted slightly. Leaning closer to Jiang Yuan, she whispered, "That man is my sister's suitor. I met him once. He's a nouveau riche." At this revelation, Jiang Yuan felt his blood pressure rise. What a lack of decorum. Did he perceive the slight physical interaction between me and your sister and take offense, prompting him to honk incessantly? Jiang Yuan inquired. "That seems to be the case," Yao Wenwen confirmed. The bald man was named Zhu Jianxiang, once an ordinary and diligent man. He had recently succumbed to a moment of folly, spurred on by a few dubious companions, and gambled away his years of savings in the stock market, purchasing a single stock. This decision had proven to be monumental. This particular stock has taken a surprising turn, experiencing an uninterrupted surge in value. It has transformed a bald man into an overnight millionaire, akin to a calf being welcomed at the barn door by its mother, a true stroke of fortune. Not only has he upgraded to a luxury vehicle, but he is also contemplating the purchase of a new home. Furthermore, he has mustered the courage to pursue the goddess he has long admired, Yao Weiwei. However, his approach is exceedingly crass, laden with what he perceives as sweet nothings, cheesy pickup lines that fall flat. "My dear, today I toiled in the fields. What did I plant? My unwavering devotion to you. My love, I spent the day receiving and for. What was I infused with? My yearning for you during the night. My darling, I indulged in noodles today. What did I savor? A sudden desire to see you." The greasy bald man, Zhu Jianxiang, inevitably reaped a few resounding slaps across his face. Nevertheless, he persevered with relentless determination. Today, he once again trailed behind Yao Weiwei, emboldened by the newfound wealth in his pockets, which fueled a sense of arrogance within him. He looked down upon any ordinary man with disdain. Upon witnessing Yao Weiwei bowing to Jiang Yuan from a distance, jealousy surged within him. To his astonishment, Jiang Yuan even extended a hand to assist her. That brazen act, he believed, was an attempt to take advantage of her. Enraged, Zhu Jianxiang incessantly honked his horn, signaling Jiang Yuan to step aside. As he exited his vehicle and glimpsed the Lamborghini parked behind Jiang Yuan, a flicker of discontent crossed his mind. He perceived Jiang Yuan as a formidable rival. Recently enriched, he failed to recognize that it was a limited edition Lamborghini, mistaking it for a mere standard model. He naively assumed his Ferrari could stand toe-to-toe with Jiang Yuan's Lamborghini. Upon spotting Weiwei, Zhu Jianxiang instantly donned the expression of an infatuated suitor. "Weiwei, it's a pleasure to see you again." However, Yao Weiwei harbored no fondness for the bald man and retorted sharply, "Don't come any closer." To her surprise, the greasy man merely chuckled and replied, "No need for complaints. May I embrace you instead?" Yao Weiwei's face darkened further, prompting her to fall silent. Yet, Zhu Jianxiang misinterpreted her silence as encouragement and continued, "Do you know what my flaw is? It's you. I discovered that I liked you yesterday. I still like you today, and I have a premonition that I will like you tomorrow. I am 9, you are 3. Apart from you, it's still you. Proximity to vermilion makes one red. Proximity to you makes one sweet." Yu Jiang Yuan nearly retched at the sight of this greasy man, appalled by his cringeworthy lines. He should refrain from speaking so brazenly to someone he hardly knows. It was utterly terrifying. After enduring a few more lines, Jiang Yuan could no longer contain himself. "Could you please be quiet?" Zhu Jianxiang, in the midst of his heartfelt confession, was abruptly interrupted. A glint of menace flared in his eyes as he grinned maliciously. Approaching Jiang Yuan, he sneered, "What's this? Your tone suggests you want to strike me. Doesn't it? The first to act prevails, while the one who reacts suffers." With that, Zhu Jianxiang raised his right hand, ready to deliver a slap to Jiang Yuan's face, fully aware that should he damage anything, his wealth could cover the cost. "However, if you dare to impede my endeavors, you can only blame your misfortune." Yet to his surprise, events did not unfold as he had anticipated. Bang! Bang! Jiang Yuan nimbly evaded his slap. Without hesitation, he delivered a powerful punch directly to the greasy man's nose. Zhu Jinxiang's nose instantly throbbed with pain, a searing ache that was unbearable. In an instant, his nose swelled to resemble that of a pig, and tears involuntarily streamed down his face. It hurt like hell. Witnessing his pitiful state, Jiang Yuan let out a cold laugh. After all, he had learned a few self-defense techniques from 3 elite bodyguards. Chapter 199. The wealthy man weeps on the spot. Jiang Yuan exhaled deeply. It was truly satisfying to personally deal with such a greasy man. His clumsy flirtations were indeed impressive. Even someone as good-natured as Jiang Yuan could not help but feel provoked to anger and acted decisively. A gentleman speaks, but does not resort to violence. How could one strike another? Zhu Jinxiang wore a pitiful expression, conveniently ignoring his own earlier attempt to slap Jiang Yuan. It was clear he was the aggressor playing the victim. Around the airport, several onlookers witnessed Zhu Jinxiang's ridiculous antics. "Goodness, the sycophant is bitten back," exclaimed one. "Is this bald man really going to resort to violence?" Thankfully, the young man is quite agile. Observers noted the luxurious car, hinting at the young man's significance. "This bald fellow looks menacing. I hope the young man is not in danger. Protect him." After Jiang Yuan had dealt with the bald man, Zhu Jinxiang was visibly enraged. He threatened, "Do you believe I won't find someone to beat you up? Just wait." However, Jiang Yuan dismissed him with indifference, recognizing the bluster of someone who likely summoned mere thugs. He made a phone call to enlist the assistance of professionals. Was it not just the dark underbelly of society? He had connections there as well. 5 minutes later, an Audi Q7 arrived. The vehicle, entirely black, exuded a commanding and fierce presence. From it emerged several brash young men, the companions of the bald, greasy man. With tattoos resembling those of Peppa Pig, they were clearly streetwise individuals. Did someone say someone was being bullied? "Who dares to harm my brother?" They roared. "We value loyalty above all else. Even if it costs us our lives, we will avenge our brother." Seeing his comrades arrive, the bald man immediately struck a pose, hands on hips, relishing the moment. He chuckled mischievously, clearly emboldened by their presence. The onlookers began to feel apprehensive. These individuals appeared quite fierce. Would they resort to violence? Perhaps filming a short video would garner some likes. As the situation escalated, Yao Weiwei's expression darkened. The entire affair stemmed from her actions, and she felt a pang of guilt and responsibility. However, Jiang Yuan timely placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Do not worry. I will handle this." Coincidentally, a Cadillac Escalade also arrived at the scene. Its sharp lines and commanding aura suggested an undeniable presence. If the Audi Q7 resembled a ferocious wild dog, the Cadillac Escalade was undoubtedly a bloodthirsty wolf. From the vehicle emerged 3 impeccably dressed middle-aged men. "Director Jiang, we have come as per your instructions," they announced. Jiang Yuan nodded in acknowledgement. They were regulars from the Carlo law firm, having made a name for themselves in the underworld, often entangled in legal disputes. The Carlo law firm welcomes all clients, provided their cases are not morally reprehensible. With the formidable prowess of this legendary firm, losses are indeed rare, which over time has cultivated numerous amicable acquaintances. The bald, greasy man, Zhu Jinxiang, remains blissfully unaware of his precarious situation. He boasts incessantly, "I have 5 here, while you only have 3. If it comes to blows, you're sure to lose." However, as he continues his tirade, he suddenly senses a shift in the atmosphere. The onlookers stand in astonishment, gazing behind him. Confounded, Zhu turns around, only to be greeted by a shocking revelation. To his dismay, his supposed allies have collectively betrayed him, eagerly fawning over the owner of a Cadillac Escalade. "Brother Feng, I have long admired your reputation. My boss, Liu, has spoken highly of you. What shall we call this dashing young man? It is no wonder you have deigned to personally intervene today. How might we resolve this matter to your satisfaction?" Zhu Jinxiang is left in a state of bewilderment. How could his comrades suddenly be ingratiating themselves with the enemy? This was utter chaos. He hastily inquires, "What are you all doing?" To his astonishment, his former friends dramatically denounce him, declaring, "Who do you think you are? I do not know you. We are hardly acquainted, merely sharing a few meals. I once thought you were as foolish as a pig, but now I realize I was mistaken. You are even less astute than a pig." These young men, trembling in fear, know that in Xia City, anyone unfamiliar with Brother Feng is undeniably lacking in discernment. In a strict sense, their elder brother must refer to Brother Feng's younger siblings as elder brother themselves. This hierarchy can be bluntly interpreted as them being the generation of grandchildren, while Jiang Yuan and his companions undoubtedly belong to the grandfather generation. Zhu Jinxiang is utterly flabbergasted. What has transpired? How did he suddenly become the prey, ripe for slaughter? Meanwhile, the revered brother Feng respectfully inquires of Jiang Yuan, Director Jiang. What is your perspective on this matter? Jiang Yuan sighs deeply. Zhu Jinxiang is, after all, just an ordinary individual. All humans are mere mortals. When one suddenly acquires wealth, a degree of hubris is to be expected. Moreover, he is merely a pitiful sycophant, previously infatuated with the goddess Yao Weiwei. Now that he has money, he naturally becomes more forward in his pursuits, which is somewhat understandable. Thus, Jiang Yuan gives the order. Beat this fool mercilessly. I will cover all medical expenses. Remember, beat him to a pulp. Brother Feng immediately accepts the directive, though he opts not to dirty his hands himself, delegating the task to the young men who had been fawning over him. Consequently, a dramatic scene unfolds, as Zhu Jinxiang is unceremoniously beaten by those he had called friends, leaving him battered and bruised, resembling a pig's head. The onlookers erupted in applause, exclaiming their approval. Indeed, evildoers meet their match. It is quite satisfying. The cycle of cause and effect. The retribution is unfaltering. A flicker of compassion flashed in Yao Weiwei's eyes, but she quickly recalled the man's earlier arrogance as he sought to assault Jiang Yuan. Thus, her empathy was gradually subdued. Yao Wenwen, brimming with excitement, shouted enthusiastically, "Boss, splendid work. I almost wish to join in and give him a good thrashing." Jiang Yuan, bemused, replied, "Perhaps refrain from that. Such actions are not suited for young ladies." Yao Qianqian regarded the greasy man's pitiful state with an air of detached satisfaction. With the situation seemingly resolved, Jiang Yuan turned to Yao Qianqian and Yao Weiwei with a smile, proposing, "Would you care to visit South City for a few days?" "My treat." Upon hearing this, Yao Wenwen's eyes brightened. It was the height of summer vacation, and Yao Qianqian had no school obligations, while Yao Weiwei, a teacher, enjoyed a break from her duties as well. The prospect of their companionship in South City was indeed appealing. Yao Weiwei felt a stirring within her. She had heard Yao Wenwen speak of Jiang Yuan numerous times, painting him in an almost mythical light. She had longed for an opportunity to engage with him. Moreover, the chance to spend time with her sister Yao Wenwen was particularly enticing, given their rare encounters throughout the year. However, Yao Qianqian shook her head, expressing her disinterest. Her temperament was rather aloof, and she preferred to avoid interactions with strangers. Having just met Jiang Yuan today, she was reluctant to accept his invitation. Anticipating this, Yao Wenwen approached Yao Qianqian, leaning in to whisper a few words. As the saying goes, an elder brother is like a father and an elder sister like a mother. Yao Wenwen understood her sister's nature well. She mentioned something that piqued Yao Qianqian's interest. "The South City Band features your favorite singer. Wouldn't you want to see them?" Sure enough, upon hearing the name of the South City Band, Yao Qianqian hesitated. Yao Wenwen continued to whisper enticing words until she finally relented, saying, "All right, I will go." Chapter 200. Antique Street. Yi family. The airplane soared swiftly through the skies, and soon, Jiang Yuan found himself back in South City. The distance between Xia City and South City was not particularly great. However, this time, Jiang Yuan opted for a flight, eager to attend to urgent matters. Upon descending from the aircraft, he was enveloped by a fragrance uniquely characteristic of South City. The air of each city possesses its own essence. It is only the air of one's homeland that truly resonates as the finest. Jiang Yuan stretched languidly, having indulged in a brief respite during the flight, and now felt invigorated and refreshed. He inhaled deeply, relishing the familiar scent that instilled a profound sense of comfort and contentment within him. At the airport, a gathering of familiar faces awaited him, as Yao Wenwen had already informed the sisters from Dongshan Villa of his return. The household's enchanting culinary artists and maids, including Xiao Ye, Yi Yin, and Jiang Shi, had all assembled, though they had chosen not to inform Jiang Yuan in advance, intending to surprise him. This left Jiang Yuan both amused and exasperated. Was such a grand display truly necessary? He chuckled inwardly, realizing he had only been away for a few days. Yet it warmed his heart to know how dearly he was missed. Xiao Ye, Yi Yin, and Jiang Shi approached eagerly, inquiring about his well-being during his absence. To them, their employer was indeed a treasure, a handsome gentleman with a kind disposition, affluence, and an unpretentious nature. Working under his guidance brought them immense tranquility, a sense of security, and self-worth. During team-building gatherings, he had even treated everyone to a lavish meal at the Ritz-Carlton, a rarity indeed for a boss of his caliber. Yao Weiwei and Yao Qianqian observed the scene with warmth and camaraderie, appreciating Jiang Yuan's considerate treatment of his subordinates. Wenwen's words rang true. He genuinely cared for them, not merely for the sake of appearances. They were also quite attentive, recognizing that the long flight had left Jiang Yuan somewhat weary from his journey. Consequently, they ushered him to a waiting car for the trip home. Amidst a gathering of beautiful women, Jiang Yuan entered the prepared vehicle, opting for the back seat instead of the front. Xiaoya and Yi Yin settled on either side of him. With an air of ease, he opened his arms wide, embracing them both, much to their delight. A soft laughter escaped their lips, and a rosy hue crept onto their cheeks. The delightful fragrance of their perfumes wafted towards him, filling him with an exhilarating sense of joy. Life felt effortlessly delightful. Onlookers at the airport, particularly the young men, could not help but transform into envious admirers, feeling a pang of jealousy. How fortunate that young man was, surrounded by such a bevy of beautiful ladies. Surely, he must have saved the universe in a past life. Would they too experience such a life? Would it ever be possible in this lifetime? In a moment of reflection, Jiang Yuan found himself contemplating the remarkable capabilities of the young man beside him. Just as he settled into the vehicle, his phone rang, revealing a call from Yi Ran. A flicker of concern crossed his mind. Could the situation be even graver than he had anticipated? Initially, he believed that even in the face of adversity, the Yi family of Antique Street would provide some measure of support. After all, a withered camel is still larger than a horse. Even if they could not weather the storm, he thought they could endure for a while. He had intended to extend a helping hand for Yi Ran's sake, believing that the matter would soon resolve itself. However, it appeared that the circumstances were far more dire than he had imagined. The fact that Yi Ran had called him multiple times for assistance suggested that urgency had reached a critical point. Upon answering the call, a voice filled with exhaustion and despair reached him. Jiang Yuan, are you back? I truly need you right now. I can no longer find anyone to rely on. He instantly recognized the voice as Yi Ran's, yet it lacked the usual warmth and joy. Instead, it was shrouded in sorrow and an impending sense of hopelessness. Jiang Yuan felt a pang of pain in his heart. The last time he had seen her during the ancestral worship ceremony, she had radiated sunshine and happiness. To think that only a few days later, she seemed like a different person altogether. Her voice was laden with profound fatigue, reminiscent of a weary traveler who had traversed arduous paths. It was evident that she had been deeply affected by her tribulations. Jiang Yuan composed himself and offered words of comfort. I have returned to Nan City. Do not worry. The situation is not as dire as you perceive. Let us meet, and you can explain everything to me in person. At Chiluaksaf? I will be there shortly, she replied, her tone as if she had grasped a lifeline. After ending the call, Jiang Yuan took a deep breath to steady his emotions. Driver, let us head to Chiluaksaf, he commanded. The seasoned driver, Yao Wenwen, acknowledged promptly. Understood. Meanwhile, Xiaoya and Yin, seated beside Jiang Yuan, wisely chose to remain silent, sensing the gravity of the matter at hand. They could clearly discern that a shadow of concern lingered on Jiang Yuan's brow after the call. Chapter 201. The aggrieved Yi Ran. Upon arriving at the CF, Jiang Yuan caught sight of a familiar figure through the transparent glass window as he stepped out of the vehicle. Approaching closer, he realized it was Yi Ran, her face etched with weariness as she slowly sipped her coffee. Once she had radiated brilliance, her pearly smile enchanting all, akin to a blooming lily. Yet now, she appeared somewhat withered, her gaze lacking luster, and a shadow of despair lingered at the corners of her eyes. Despite her vibrant attire, she resembled a light bulb deprived of power, her feet restlessly crossing and shaking, clearly engulfed by anxiety. A pang of sorrow gripped Jiang Yuan's heart, prompting him to stride purposefully inside. His footsteps resonated as he approached Yi Ran. In her dazed state, hearing the familiar sound of his steps was like grasping a lifeline. She lifted her head and, upon recognizing Jiang Yuan's face, immediately collapsed into his embrace, unable to contain her sobs. Gently patting her back, he whispered soothing words into her ear. After a considerable time, her cries gradually subsided. What happened? Jiang Yuan inquired softly. At the mention of the incident, Yi Ran felt her tears welling up once more. However, taking a deep breath, she endeavored to compose herself. My father was deceived by a foreigner. With a heart full of sorrow, she recounted everything she knew. It turned out that Yi Ran's father, Yi Jingshan, had a foreign confidant with whom he had shared a bond for over 20 years. He was a man of great loyalty and placed immense trust in his foreign friend. This acquaintance introduced him to a business venture, claiming the virtual currency trading was thriving abroad, promising profits for investors. Bitcoin, frequently featured in the news, was one representation of virtual currency. Presently, the realm of cryptocurrencies offered a plethora of options. Although Yi Jingshan was inherently loyal, he initially approached this unfamiliar venture with skepticism. He began by investing a modest sum to test the waters. To his astonishment, that initial investment multiplied exponentially, soaring to over 100 times its original value. The rapid appreciation of virtual currency bestowed upon him his first substantial earnings, over $1 million. A promising start indeed, in his euphoric state, bolstered by his friends' incessant praise. Yi Jingshan gradually lowered his guard and began to increase his investments. Little did he know, he had unwittingly walked into a meticulously crafted trap. As he continued to amplify his financial commitments, he soon faced the harsh reality of plummeting currency values, leading to mounting losses. Ultimately, he found himself in an unimaginable predicament. Mired in debt, when Yi Jingshan sought to withdraw from the venture, he realized it was far too late. At this juncture, Jiang Yuan had begun to understand the situation. Essentially, Yi Ran's father had fallen victim to a scheme that resulted in the embezzlement of a significant amount of assets. Although the Yi family in Antique Street possessed considerable wealth, internal competition existed as well. In times of crisis, they might not extend their assistance. Therefore, the only person Yi Ran could rely on now was Jiang Yuan. "Where is that foreigner now?" Jiang Yuan inquired, his brow furrowed. If his whereabouts were unknown, the situation would prove to be rather precarious. Yi Ran shook her head. "That individual is currently living quite luxuriously. I heard he is scheduled to record a program at a television station today for an interview." "Oh dear," Jiang Yuan's confusion deepened. How could this person act so audaciously, having orchestrated a deceit and yet not only refraining from fleeing, but also appearing on television? While it can be described as deception, we lack any evidence. Our domestic virtual currency is not tradable. My father entrusted his money to him for transactions abroad, making it impossible to catch him in his wrongdoing. Jiang Yuan still felt something was amiss, but surely there must be more to it. Does he not have any influential backing? Yi Ran hesitated before nodding. It is said that he seems to have connections with some prominent figures in the capital, and his background is quite extraordinary. The capital. It was indeed the capital once more. No wonder this foreigner carried himself with such confidence. Having deceived others, he still roamed freely. Over the past few days, Jiang Yuan had heard much about the people and affairs of the capital and gradually came to understand the formidable power of its aristocracy. However, regardless of their might, Jiang Yuan felt no fear. "You mentioned that this foreigner is appearing on a program, correct? Which television station? What program?" Jiang Yuan asked. "Xinyang Station. It seems to be an interview program," Yi Ran replied, somewhat uncertain. Jiang Yuan's heart stirred. The name Xinyang Station sounded familiar. Just a few days prior, he had drawn shares in Xinyang Media. This television station, it seemed, was within his sphere of influence. He promptly resolved, "I shall go meet this person." Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's statement, Yi Ran was startled and quickly dissuaded him. "Do not go. The connections behind that individual are quite formidable. I sought your help merely to ask if you could lend me a little money to alleviate my urgent predicament." Indeed, Yi Ran longed for a hero to bring that foreign swindler to justice. Yet, regrettably, she had neither evidence nor witnesses. Moreover, even if she did, what could be done? This person was entangled with some of the wealthiest figures in the capital, those of immense stature. Yi Ran did not wish to drag Jiang Yuan into such a perilous quagmire. Such matters could lead to irreparable consequences. The stakes were exceedingly high. Her plea for assistance was simply a hope to secure some funds to protect herself and her family. However, Jiang Yuan was undeterred. How could a mere foreigner dare to set a trap and deceive his compatriots on their own turf? Moreover, it pained Jiang Yuan to see Yi Ran, a woman he held in high regard, so distressed. He promptly resolved to embark on a quest to locate this foreign fraudster. However, Yi Ran once again urged him to reconsider. "Do you not realize how terrifying the people of the capital can be? To them, this matter is merely a trivial squabble. If you provoke them and strip away their dignity, they will not let it rest easily." Listening to Yi Ran elucidate the pros and cons, Jiang Yuan remained composed and assured her, "Rest assured, all will be well. I know how to navigate this situation." With that, he rose to depart. Simultaneously, Jiang Yuan began to reach out to individuals at Xinyang Media. He was determined to confront this foreign scammer and make him experience the repercussions of his deceit. Chapter 202. Jiang Yuan's masterful maneuver. Jiang Yuan swiftly arrived at Xinyang television station. Upon hearing of his arrival, the staff were immediately taken aback, hurrying to receive him with utmost reverence. However, Jiang Yuan had no time to indulge them. His mind was preoccupied with devising a plan to outsmart that foreign charlatan. He requested the schedule for the program and obtained the relevant information about the foreign scammer, who was named Jack Zhang. Additionally, he held the title of a minor internet celebrity, frequently producing sycophantic short videos extolling the virtues of Longhua to amass followers. Jack Zhang's command of Chinese was impressively fluent, allowing him to attract a substantial fan base in a short span of time. It was precisely this appeal that led Xinjiang television station to invite him for an interview, which notably included a segment for a Chinese language examination. Upon reviewing the prepared questions, Jiang Yuan encountered a rather simplistic listening comprehension task. The dialogue went as follows. Taxi driver: Sir, where would you like to go? Passenger: I want to go to Nanqing Bay. Taxi driver: All right, the fare is 50 yuan. Passenger: I will pay upon arrival. The question posed was, how much is the passenger prepared to pay? And has he paid yet? Jiang Yuan scoffed at the simplicity of the question, recognizing it as a mere formality crafted by the production team to accommodate Jack Zhang. Suddenly, an idea struck Jiang Yuan, an ingenious plan to embarrass Jack Zhang. Given that Jack had callously manipulated Yi Yiran's father, causing immense distress to both him and Yi Yiran herself, Jiang Yuan resolved to show no mercy. When confronting a wolf or a tiger, one must wield a hunter's rifle. The interview would not only be recorded, but also streamed live, and the online audience was already brimming with eager fans of Jack Zhang, anticipating his performance. The production team had arranged for the Chinese language examination segment, and, with Jack's fluency, expectations were high. As the interview program approached completion, Jack Zhang had already taken his place. Jiang Yuan, exercising his authority, requested that the original host temporarily step down, taking over the role himself. At last, he stood face to face with Jack Zhang, a tall, self-assured middle-aged man with fair skin and golden hair. Hello, I am Jiang Yuan, the host for today's program. Jiang Yuan introduced himself, striking a balance between courtesy and assertiveness. Jack Zhang appeared momentarily taken aback, pondering the unexpected deviation from the prearranged host. However, he quickly regained his composure, offering a smile and a handshake in response. Following the predetermined format of the program, Jiang Yuan posed a series of casual questions, to which Jack Zhang responded effortlessly, creating an atmosphere that was momentarily harmonious. However, when it came to the scheduled segment, the Chinese language quiz, Jiang Yuan couldn't help but smile slightly. I heard that, Jack. Your proficiency in Chinese is quite impressive, Jiang Yuan remarked with a grin. Jack Zhang feigned modesty, replying, Oh, not at all. It's merely because Chinese is relatively easy to learn, not due to any exceptional linguistic talent on my part. You dare to claim that Chinese is simple? Young man, do not hastily set such expectations, Jiang Yuan said with a faint smile. He then proceeded to read the questions for the Chinese quiz. Customer service: What class of seat would you like? Passenger: How many classes do you have? Customer service: We have special class, first class, second class, and so forth. Second class requires a bit more waiting. Passenger: Let me take a look, just a moment. Customer service: No need to wait. Even if you wait a bit longer, there won't be any left. Passenger: Then I 1T wait. I'll take this one. May I ask, what class of seat did the passenger ultimately purchase? Jiang Yuan calmly concluded this question. However, once he finished, Jack Zhang was utterly bewildered. What sort of bizarre question is this? First class, second class, third class? Is Chinese truly this profound? Panic set in as he recalled his earlier boast about the simplicity of the language. He felt embarrassed and flushed, completely at a loss. The atmosphere became exceedingly awkward. Meanwhile, in the live chat, it erupted with excitement. This young man is so amusing. That question is incredibly difficult. Ha ha ha. Look at Jack Zhang's expression. It mirrors my own confusion during English listening tests. He looks utterly dazed, even more so than I do during English listening. This young man is delightful. Is he a new host? I've never seen him before. Not only is he entertaining, but he is also quite handsome. I'm smitten. Faced with Jack Zhang's predicament, Jiang Yuan smiled gently. Perhaps this question is a tad too challenging. Let's try a different one. Upon hearing Jiang Yuan's words, Jack Zhang felt a wave of relief wash over him. This host has remarkable emotional intelligence. How could the production team assign such a difficult question? Thankfully, this host is considerate enough to offer me an easier question to alleviate my embarrassment. He quickly responded, Please do change the question. This one is quite difficult for me. Jiang Yuan chuckled softly and then presented another question. Please identify the male and female protagonists in the phrase. Clearly, he likes her. Yet he simply does not say it. Jack Zhang was once again left dumbfounded. In an instant, he found himself questioning everything. What on earth is this question? Is Chinese genuinely this complex? These are all individual characters, yet when combined, it seems incomprehensible. Just look at Jack Zhang's expression. His eyes appeared as if they might pop out from sheer astonishment. He had just claimed that learning Chinese was quite simple. Yet now he seems utterly confounded by a single question. How unfortunate. I can't help but feel a fleeting moment of sympathy for him. This young man is rather ruthless to pose such a question. Jack Zhang's lips were incessantly moving, yet despite the prolonged effort, he could not utter a single word. Ultimately, he was compelled to admit, indeed, Chinese is profound and intricate. I underestimated its complexity. Upon receiving this response, Jiang Yuan offered a subtle smile. The recording of the program swiftly came to a close. However, Jack Zhang is no fool. He has discerned that Jiang Yuan had come specifically to challenge him. Jack Zhang then pulled Jiang Yuan into a quiet room and inquired, "Who exactly are you? Are you from the Yi family?" Jiang Yuan countered, "Why do you presume I'm associated with the Yi family? Are you perhaps feeling guilty, aware that you have wronged the Yi family, thus causing you to feel so apprehensive?" Chapter 203. The shock of Jack Zhang upon hearing these words. A bittersweet smile of helplessness spread across Jack Zhang's face. Yet, he refrained from elaborating further, simply uttering the 8 words that are often spoken in Dragon Country. In the rivers and lakes, one is not free. Jiang Yuan found the foreigner somewhat amusing, as he spoke with such antiquated wisdom. This very phrase had been taught to him many years ago by Yi Jingshan, with whom he had shared a bond for several decades. Reflecting on the kindness of the past, Jack Zhang couldn't help but feel a twinge of shame. He lowered his head slightly, his posture resembling that of a cow that had been beaten down, slightly hunched. In truth, Jiang Yuan could keenly sense that deep within Jack Zhang's heart, betraying a close friend weighed heavily upon him. "Why did you set a trap for Yi Jingshan? It seems your motives are not driven by greed," Jiang Yuan pondered. Initially, he had only heard Yi Ran's words and immediately assumed that Jack Zhang had betrayed for personal gain. However, the information he obtained from Xinyang indicated that Jack Zhang possessed ample influence and wealth, rendering him devoid of any criminal motive. Moreover, as Jiang Yuan observed Jack Zhang's demeanor, it was evident that he was engulfed in guilt and remorse. "It is of no use to discuss this." Jack Zhang shook his head. "Young man, there are many matters in this world that you cannot involve yourself in. It is far more intricate than you can imagine. Sometimes, knowing too much will only bring you endless trouble. Why burden yourself unnecessarily?" His expression was one of reticence, clearly hinting at unspoken depths. Faced with Jiang Yuan, a stranger, he had no intention of revealing the truth, especially considering the youthfulness of Jiang Yuan, who appeared to be merely in his early 20s. As the saying goes, a young mouth speaks without care. The majority of wealth and power in this world remains firmly in the hands of those in their prime. Jiang Yuan, still young and unlike the offspring of affluent families, would only find himself embroiled in peril should he be drawn into this affair. Alas, the fewer the entanglements, the better. Jack Zhang thought to himself with a resigned smile. Jiang Yuan, however, was no fool. In fact, he was quite adept at reading between the lines. He quickly discerned Jack Zhang's thoughts. This enigmatic person was unwilling to share anything with him, which implied a sense of disdain, much like a forest ablaze. If the rescue came from the great rivers and seas, one would surely cooperate wholeheartedly. Yet, if it were merely a trickle of a stream or a small well, there would be little interest. It seemed Jack Zhang was suggesting that Jiang Yuan should refrain from involving himself, as it would serve no purpose. "Since you say so, it is evident that the implications are substantial," Jiang Yuan speculated and directly inquired. "Is it related to those in the capital?" Observing Jiang Yuan's insistence, Jack Zhang could not help but shake his head coldly. "Young man, I have told you, some matters are best left unasked. To navigate life, it is paramount to possess a keen sense of self-awareness. To speak candidly, one should refrain from overestimating oneself and standing in the way of inevitable progress." At that moment, Jiang Yuan felt a surge of thoughts, preparing to articulate something. However, just then, Jack Zhang caught sight of several figures waiting outside the door. Curiously, he approached and opened it, revealing a group of senior executives from Xinyang Media, who were eagerly anticipating his arrival. "What brings you here?" Jack Zhang inquired, somewhat perplexed. To his surprise, the executives made a beeline for Jiang Yuan. "Mr. Jiang, having journeyed from afar, we would like to report on our progress. How about we arrange a dinner this evening to welcome you and show our hospitality? We could also provide some lovely companions for the evening." Witnessing this, Jack Zhang felt a shock value surge within him. Ding! Shock value 300. He was taken aback, realizing, no wonder you are able to alter the program's content and hosts at will. You are the owner of Xinjiang. How is it possible that you are so youthful? The scale of Xinjiang Media had already positioned it as a leading entity in the media landscape of Nanjing. Speculation had long surrounded the identity of its new proprietor, as few possessed the financial means to acquire such an establishment. Some conjectured it was the city's wealthiest tycoon, Su Tianhao, while others speculated it might be a magnate from another city. Yet, Jack Zhang could hardly fathom that the trusted owner of Xinjiang would be a young man in his early 20s. Perhaps this youth possessed extraordinary qualities or a notable background. Jack Zhang pondered in quiet astonishment. At that moment, his phone rang. Upon seeing the caller ID, Jack Zhang's expression shifted dramatically, and he hastily answered the call. The conversation was shrouded in mystery, but as they exchanged words, the astonishment in Jack Zhang's gaze towards Jiang Yuan intensified. Ding. Shock value 600. Who exactly is this young man? He is not only the proprietor of the Fiscal Ton restaurant and the Royal Century Entertainment City, but also has significant ventures in Xiamen. The caller, hailing from the capital, had begun an investigation into Jiang Yuan in light of the recent online broadcast, promptly relaying the findings to Jack Zhang. The inquiry into Jiang Yuan was evidently swift and precise. Although many of Jiang Yuan's trump cards and enterprises remained concealed, he was already a figure of considerable importance. Nevertheless, Jack Zhang approached Jiang Yuan with a sigh, shaking his head in disappointment. No wonder you persistently inquire. It appears you believe you possess the capital to engage in this conflict. Yet, I must advise you against entering this fray. The stage of this game is vast, and those who can take the stage are either true powerhouses, madmen, or fools. Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow slightly. This enigmatic individual seems relentless, does he not? Just then, his phone also began to ring. Jiang Yuan picked up his iPhone 12 Pro Max and glanced at the screen. The phone call from Tang Chenxin arrived. Miss Tang had promised to provide him with a mobile phone, but it required some time for production. He pondered what her purpose was in calling him now. Jiang Yuan answered the call. Jiang Yuan, there is something of great significance that I must discuss with you. Go ahead. On the 9th of next month, my great-grandmother will celebrate her 100th birthday. The Tang family will host a grand banquet in the capital, and I sincerely hope you can attend. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan nodded affirmatively. He deliberately amplified his voice slightly. Certainly, I will be in the capital on the 9th of next month to celebrate your great-grandmother's birthday. Jack Zhang distinctly heard this statement, which carried immense implications. The date, the capital, the great-grandmother, the birthday celebration, all were laden with meaning. Jack Zhang, well-versed in the latest news, was acutely aware of the significance surrounding the centenary celebration of the Tang family's matriarch. Yet, Jiang Yuan had been invited by the Tang family to partake in such a momentous occasion. His expression shifted dramatically. What? The Tang family's great-grandmother's birthday? They invited you? Jack Zhang exclaimed in astonishment. Jiang Yuan nodded in affirmation. Yes, it was Miss Tang Chenxin who personally extended the invitation. Jack Zhang was left even more bewildered. You actually know a young lady from the Tang family in the capital? Jiang Yuan smiled. Now, might you be able to share the entire story with me? After the initial shock, Jack Zhang quickly regained his composure. However, the astonishment in his eyes when he looked at Jiang Yuan was indelible. Among the prominent families in the capital, the Tang family undoubtedly ranked among the top 5 super elite families. Yet, Jiang Yuan had been personally invited by a young lady of the Tang family. Clearly, his status and background were beyond Jack Zhang's imagination. With this realization, Jack Zhang's demeanor gradually became more courteous. Of course, if you wish to know anything, I shall tell you everything in detail, Jack Zhang said with respectful earnestness. Why are you using you now? Such a chameleon, Jiang Yuan thought to himself, secretly amused. In truth, I preferred your earlier defiant demeanor. Do return to that. Chapter 204. Journey to the capital. Jiang Yuan waved his hand. The senior executives of Xinjiang Company, perceiving the cue, discreetly exited the room. Within the confines of the chamber, only Jiang Yuan and Jack Zhang remained. The atmosphere was enveloped in a profound tranquility. Speak, what is truly going on? Why set a trap for Yi Jingshan? Jiang Yuan stated with a calm demeanor. Should you conceal anything or indulge in deceit, the consequences shall be yours to bear. His tone, though unassuming, carried an undeniable authority. Jack Zhang felt a sudden jolt in his heart. This young man, exuding an aura of quiet power, was evidently not an ordinary individual. Brother Yi, I truly wronged him, but I was left with no choice, Jack Zhang admitted with a bitter expression. As he broached the subject of Yi Jingshan, a shadow of melancholy crossed his face. After a deep breath, he continued, Brother Yi was indeed ensnared by others, and it was I who lured him into the trap. However, considering my capabilities, how could I possibly orchestrate such a scheme? Jiang Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly. Indeed, the plot was intricate. Yi Yiran's father was an experienced player, not easily deceived, unless certain elements transcended his understanding. For instance, the apparent simplicity of this scheme belied its true complexity, akin to manipulating the rise and fall of a volatile stock. The energy and financial resources required were astronomical. Jiang Yuan's keen perception pierced through the murk. Are you suggesting that there are powerful figures wishing for Yi Jingshan's utter ruin? A flicker of admiration flashed in Jack Zhang's eyes. He was impressed by Jiang Yuan's insight and discernment. Yet, almost immediately, a shadow of despondency clouded his gaze. If I do not assist those individuals, my family would likely face dire consequences. Moreover, if the truth were to be unveiled, Brother Ye's predicament is, in truth, of his own making. He cannot truly blame others. Of his own making? Jiang Yuan mused, realizing that Yi Yiran's father had committed a transgression that invited retribution. Retribution? Jiang Yuan felt a stir of curiosity within. What could he have possibly done to invoke such a fierce vengeance? He inquired. At this juncture, Jack Zhang's countenance grew awkward. He hesitated, clearly reluctant to divulge the details, or perhaps uncertain how to articulate them. Ultimately, recalling that Jiang Yuan had been personally invited by Miss Tang, he decided to share what he knew candidly. Truth be told, Brother Yi was once a passionate young man. As you might expect, young men often err in ways typical of their kind. Oh dear! Jiang Yuan shot him a sidelong glance, his expression curious. Are you implying that this matter involves a woman? Jack Zhang nodded sorrowfully. Brother Yi possesses many admirable qualities, yet he cannot restrain himself. In his youth, he clandestinely courted a woman, who, crucially, was another man's fiancée. This woman later married, and although Brother Ye's feelings were not deeply entrenched, he believed the matter had faded into obscurity. Yet, ultimately, paper cannot conceal fire. The woman eventually gave birth to a child, and, as the child grew, he bore less resemblance to his father and more to Yi. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan was struck with a sense of exasperation. The matter concerning Yi Yiran's father turned out to be a tale reminiscent of a minotaur. After all, he considered himself a paragon of pure love, at odds with the very notion of a minotaur. Were it not for Yi Yiran's involvement, Jiang Yuan would have preferred to let this Yi Jingshan fade into obscurity. Jack Zhang seemed to sense Jiang Yuan's thoughts and began to elucidate. In truth, we cannot place all the blame on Yi. The woman's fiancé is hardly a paragon of virtue. He not only frequently abuses his girlfriend, but also possesses a character of the utmost depravity. Ye's affection for that woman stemmed from compassion. Moreover, it was only later that she revealed her engagement to him. Yi was entirely unaware when he entered into a relationship with her. Jiang Yuan cast him a sidelong glance, probing further. Is her fiancé from one of the prominent families in the capital? Jack Zhang could only manage a wry smile and nod repeatedly. Jiang Yuan remarked, as the saying goes, one must eventually pay for their misdeeds. To summarize the situation regarding Yi Yiran's father, he had unknowingly betrayed another. The truth just remained undiscovered until now. However, the truth had now emerged, and the aggrieved party had come seeking vengeance. Jiang Yuan found himself at a loss for words. He had no desire to become embroiled in such matters. The intricacies of love and conflict resembled a tangled ball of yarn, impossible to unravel without further complicating it. Yet, given that this predicament implicated Yi Yiran, he could not remain indifferent. Now that the Yi family is indebted, are they satisfied? Jiang Yuan inquired. After all, they are a prominent family in the capital. They cannot simply let this go, Jack Zhang replied helplessly. Currently, it is merely a minor disturbance. Soon, they will likely seek to ruin Ye's family entirely. Ruin their family? Jiang Yuan raised an eyebrow. Yi Jingshan had indeed brought this upon himself. In truth, Jiang Yuan felt little inclination to concern himself with his fate. However, Yi Yiran was innocent, and he needed to devise a plan to protect her. She should not suffer for her father's transgressions. Which prominent family in the capital are we speaking of? The Sun family? The Tang family? Jiang Yuan pressed. Jack Zhang shook his head vigorously. The most formidable family in the capital is the Zhang family. Jiang Yuan silently committed this name to memory. He intended to travel to the capital to accept an invitation to the Tang family's centennial celebration. As for Yi Jingshan's predicament, Jiang Yuan's expression turned somewhat peculiar. As long as I can ensure Yi Yiran's safety, that should suffice. Chapter 205. The Lottery, Paradise Island. As dusk fell, Jiang Yuan returned home to the Dongshan villa after alighting from the car. Upon opening the door, he found Yao Wenwen had been waiting at the entrance for quite some time. Seeing Jiang Yuan's return, she beamed with joy, akin to a devoted wife, assisting him in removing his coat. The other exquisite culinary goddesses, upon witnessing this, promptly began preparing the evening's feast. Jiang Yuan had spent many days on this trip to Xiamen. Thus the meal upon his return was particularly sumptuous. After a lengthy journey by car and plane, coupled with dealing with Yi Ran's affairs, Jiang Yuan felt somewhat weary, rubbing his temples as he sank into the sofa. Thoughtfully, Yao Wenwen brewed him a cup of fine tea. "Boss, this is the exquisite Dahong Pao that someone gifted us last time. In ancient times, it was a tribute reserved for the emperor." Jiang Yuan acknowledged with a hum, taking a sip of the tea, which indeed exuded a fragrant aroma, refreshing his senses. The tea's flavor was delightful, alleviating some of his fatigue. "Did anything amusing occur between you and Yi Ran today?" Yao Wenwen teased. At the mention of this, Jiang Yuan rolled his eyes. "I wish. However, she encountered some troubles and is currently feeling under the weather, leaving no opportunity for anything else." In response, Yao Wenwen playfully raised her eyebrows, suggesting, "Then wouldn't it be the perfect chance for you to embrace her, whisper sweet nothings in her ear, and perhaps indulge in some mischief?" Jiang Yuan shot her a sidelong glance, questioning, "What mischief?" Yao Wenwen, with a coy smile, replied, "The kind of mischief that you're secretly contemplating." Feigning seriousness, Jiang Yuan retorted, "How would I know what mischief I harbor? My heart is as pure as snow, untainted and pristine. Do not sully my innocence." With a scoff, Yao Wenwen could not help but display a look of disdain. Having spent considerable time together, she understood Jiang Yuan all too well. He possessed both a lustful heart and audacity, yet claimed to be as pure as the driven snow. How absurd! Nevertheless, Jiang Yuan chose to ignore her expression, as thoughts of Yao Qianqian suddenly surfaced in his mind. It must be said, some individuals possess a certain enchanting allure that lingers in one's thoughts. Casually, he inquired, "What about your sister and your younger sibling?" After arriving here, Sister Wei Wei was quite excited and roamed around to explore, but Qianqian has a rather aloof disposition, preferring to rest alone in her room. The contrasting personalities of Yao Wenwen's sisters were evident. Although Yao Weiwei was a few years older, her spirit remained vibrant and cheerful. Upon entering Jiang Yuan's luxurious villa in Dongshan, she was like an exuberant child, wandering about in wonder. In stark contrast, Yao Qianqian was as cold as ice, relishing solitude. Even upon arriving here, she simply requested a modest room for rest. One could only wonder what a girl like her did alone in her room. Jiang Yuan, intrigued, asked, "Does your sister have any particular beliefs that make her so fond of solitude?" "Not at all." Yao Wenwen shook her head in response. "Her disposition is inherently one of simplicity and solitude." "Has she enrolled in university?" "Yes, she is currently a freshman." "What major is she pursuing?" "She is in a combined undergraduate and master's program at a medical university." Jiang Yuan acknowledged with a sound. "Boss, you don't harbor any intentions towards my sister, do you?" Yao Wenwen cautioned. "I warn you, you may direct your actions towards me, but you must not harm my sister." Jiang Yuan found this amusing, chuckling as he retorted, "How can you say such a thing as if I were a bandit? You essentially are one." Yao Wenwen gently huffed, swaying her slender waist gracefully before turning to brew a pot of tea for Jiang Yuan. Meanwhile, Jiang Yuan began to contemplate. His journey to the capital had two primary objectives. The first was due to Tang Chunxin's invitation. The centenary celebration of the Tang family's elder would undoubtedly attract numerous distinguished guests. It could be said that the elite of the capital would gather for this occasion. Securing an invitation to such a grand event was evidently a rare opportunity. Had it not been for Jiang Yuan's remarkable performance that day, earning him Miss Tang's favor, it is likely that even with his current capabilities, he would have required additional connections. The second reason concerned Yi Ran. Jiang Yuan needed to assume the role of a mediator, negotiating with the Zhang family of the capital. Even if a complete reconciliation proved elusive, he must at least ensure Yi Ran and her father's safety. Desire is a sharp blade. Jiang Yuan sighed softly. The Yi family, renowned in the southern city for their formidable reputation, were viewed as mere provincial bumpkins in the eyes of the capital's aristocracy. Due to past misunderstandings, they had been swiftly dismantled. The power of the capital's elite was truly formidable, capable of turning the Yi family's fortunes upside down with a mere flick of their hand. Jiang Yuan squinted slightly, acutely aware of the unpredictability of fate. Unconsciously, he slipped into a brief slumber, entering the realm of dreams. Yao Wenwen quietly draped a cool blanket over him. After a short nap of approximately half an hour, Jiang Yuan awoke feeling refreshed and stretched lazily. However, he did not leave the warmth of the blanket. Instead, he closed his eyes to access the system. He needed to prepare for this journey to the capital. In the sky, 10 blind boxes slowly materialized. Familiar formulas, familiar sense. Jiang Yuan ran his thumb across the 10 boxes. Bang! A burst of fiery rainbows erupted. What a splendid revelation. Jiang Yuan's heart raced as he began to inspect the contents. Reward. 1 million yuan. Reward. 1 million yuan. Reward. 1 million yuan. Reward. 1 million yuan. Reward. 10 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 million yuan. Critical reward. Coral Sea Paradise Island. He quickly dismissed the cash rewards, as such trivial sums were not worthy of his attention. His gaze swiftly settled on the bottom. The Coral Sea? Jiang Yuan was momentarily taken aback. A renowned singer once composed a song of the same name, Coral Sea. This magnificent expanse is the largest marine area in the world, covering an area equivalent to half of the Dragon Kingdom. The waters are pristine, showcasing a deep cerulean hue, complemented by an abundance of corals, creating a surreal and dreamlike beauty. However, the paradise island within this sea, known as Jiang Yuan, remains unknown to him. This reward is rather impressive, he mused with a touch of astonishment. Each island in such a splendid marine region can fetch astronomical prices. He pondered the size of this paradise island and the precious resources it might harbor. Jiang Yuan found himself quietly anticipating the opportunity to visit the Coral Sea's island of paradise, to personally inspect its wonders. Such a locale undoubtedly serves as an exquisite destination for relaxation and leisure, where one can observe sharks, sea turtles, sea cucumbers, and pearls, all of which offer a unique and refined charm. Yet, despite the allure of this reward, it seemed of little assistance for his current predicament. During this journey to the capital, he would likely confront the elite families of the city. Lacking a solid foundation of strength, he feared becoming subject to the whims of others. With a deep breath, Jiang Yuan summoned 10 blind boxes once more. Chapter 206. Patent application. Jiang Yuan's pupils slightly contracted. A rainbow, accompanied by the dazzling brilliance of flames, reflected once more in his eyes. Let there be something truly useful, he thought. Autumn pear syrup. A ball of clay. Jiang Yuan closed his eyes and silently prayed. Then, he abruptly opened them. Reward. 1 million yuan. 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 Critical reward. A building in the South City Harbor area? Jiang Yuan. This reward, had it been during his first 10 consecutive draws, would have undoubtedly exhilarated him. This was not merely an apartment. It was an entire building. Clearly, if rented out, it could yield a substantial sum each quarter. However, Jiang Yuan was not currently in need of such rewards. Just the dividends from the first fiscal ton restaurant he acquired were already astronomical. What he desired was something more direct, something with a greater impact. Onward, Jiang Yuan mused. I refuse to believe that today cannot yield something useful. That's how drawing cards worked. Sometimes, once the momentum built up, it truly surged. Without hesitation, he opened another 10 blind boxes. Reward. 1 million yuan. 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 Reward. 10 million yuan. Reward. 10 million yuan. Reward. 10 million yuan. Reward. 10 million yuan. Critical reward. A residence in the prestigious Shengda School District of the capital. Upon seeing the results, Jiang Yuan felt a wave of disbelief wash over him. Is this a trick? How could he have drawn such a property reward again? Nonetheless, he reasoned that having something was better than having nothing. He decided to set it aside for now. Perhaps it would prove useful in the future. Stop teasing me. Let the good stuff come forth. Jiang Yuan pressed his palms together. Output, 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 output. He launched yet another 3 10 draws. Yet, disappointingly, not even a ripple was stirred. Reward. 1 million yuan. 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 Reward. 10 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 million yuan. All cash rewards. This was becoming rather mundane, until Jiang Yuan embarked on his 4th set of 10 draws. Whether it was simply an illusion, the halo of the rainbow seemed to be distinctly larger this time, and the layers of flames appeared to be elevated. At last, something potentially useful seemed to manifest. Jiang Yuan's eyes brightened instantly. A reward of 1 million yuan, another million, and yet another, until a total of 10 million yuan is mentioned, alongside a critical reward of a cardiac medication. A sense of tension gripped Jiang Yuan's heart. At first glance, he considered this reward to be rather unremarkable, insipid, and of little use, especially since he had no heart condition himself. However, upon further reflection, he realized that should he be able to analyze the components of this medication, it could lead to the acquisition of a groundbreaking pharmaceutical patent. This would herald a boon for every heart disease patient, and anyone purchasing this medication would undoubtedly pay a patent fee. Remarkable indeed, Jiang Yuan mused. Such an advancement could potentially captivate the entire world, compelling even the elite families of the capital to show him deference. Yet he pondered, how effective could this medication truly be? If it proved to have even modest efficacy, he would possess an extraordinarily powerful trump card. Excitement coursed through Jiang Yuan as he contemplated the situation. Regardless of the drug's effectiveness, he resolved to apply for the patent without delay. He was eager to secure his position as a primary beneficiary once this medication reached the market, a truly revolutionary intellectual creation. Adhering to his principle of seizing opportunities, Jiang Yuan decided to take another chance with a tenfold draw. As expected, the luminous aura appeared even larger than before, and the flames radiated a more magnificent brilliance. He sensed that something truly exceptional was imminent. Once again, 1 million yuan was rewarded, followed by additional millions, culminating in a critical reward of blueprints for a flexible new energy battery. Jiang Yuan scratched his head in confusion. A battery? Wasn't he that ubiquitous? What then? Was this new energy-flexible battery? Could it possibly be another patent-worthy invention? With renewed determination, he called for Yao Wenwen. Quickly, assist me in applying for a patent online. Be sure to avoid any consulting firms and ensure that all information submitted is handled entirely by ourselves and kept strictly confidential, Jiang Yuan instructed. During his university days, he had collaborated with a professor on several small projects and had gained some knowledge about the patent application process. Yao Wenwen looked perplexed, her mind swirling with questions. A patent? What patent? Where did you acquire this patent, boss? Jiang Yuan opted for brevity, urging her to expedite the process. Yao Wenwen felt overwhelmed by the sudden influx of responsibility. However, she was quite astute and quickly located the website entrance under Jiang Yuan's guidance, familiarizing herself with the general procedure. What kind of patent is it? Yao Wenwen inquired. You must provide me with specific information, otherwise, I won't be able to file the application, she added. Jiang Yuan replied, it pertains to the field of medicine. Upon hearing this, Yao Wenwen nodded in acknowledgement. Coincidentally, Yao Qianqian, who had just descended the stairs, overheard the conversation as well. Intrigued, she couldn't help but glance curiously at Jiang Yuan. As a medical student, the mention of a patent related to medicine naturally piqued her interest. Chapter 207. The Doubts of Yao Qianqian in the Living Room. Jiang Yuan stood with his hands clasped behind his back. On the table before Yao Wenwen lay a state-of-the-art, fruit-themed laptop. Under Jiang Yuan's guidance, she methodically entered various details pertaining to the application for a medical patent. Yao Qianqian cast a few discreet glances, initially intrigued. However, upon discerning the specifics, a flicker of disdain illuminated her eyes. To her astonishment, it was an application for a patent on a miracle drug for heart disease. As a distinguished student from a medical university, Yao Qianqian was acutely aware that modern medicine is not as advanced as the general populace often imagines. Even the common cold lacks a definitive cure, relying predominantly on the body's immune system for recovery. If something as trivial as a cold has no miraculous remedy, how could one possibly expect a miracle drug for heart disease? It is essential to recognize that heart disease encompasses a multitude of varieties, each with distinct pathological causes. The notion of a universal miracle drug is utterly unfounded. Such claims typically emanate from uneducated charlatans or academic fraudsters, devoid of any genuine possibility of realization. With this realization, any lingering admiration Yao Qianqian had harbored for Jiang Yuan evaporated entirely. Mr. Jiang, I require a moment to converse with my sister, Yao Qianqian stated coldly. Jiang Yuan noted her unfriendly tone. Could it be that she sensed my ulterior motives? Surely not. He turned to glance at her, his expression serene and composed, embodying the demeanor of a gentleman. Surely, she has not uncovered my intentions. At that moment, Yao Wenwen interjected, Boss, my sister and I have some private matters to discuss. Your presence is somewhat inconvenient. Rest assured, I will attend to what you have instructed me within the next couple of days." Upon hearing this, Jiang Yuan nodded, preparing to retreat to his own quarters. The intimate conversations of young women would indeed be awkward for him to overhear. However, just before he departed, he could not resist stealing another glance at Yao Qianqian. This young lady's limbs were notably more delicate than those of her peers, and her skin was strikingly fair and refined. Her features were exquisitely crafted, resembling a celestial being conjured by divine hands, ethereal and captivating. The beauty she possessed was on par with any enchanting woman he had ever encountered, particularly as her youthful radiance aligned perfectly with his predilections. She appeared utterly vulnerable and inviting, exuding an air of fragility. Oh, how he yearned for a flirtatious romance with her. No, he must restrain himself. It was overwhelming, far too enticing for his sensibilities. Jiang Yuan took a moment to compose himself, straightened his posture, and confidently returned to his room. There was no rush. Time was on his side. Moreover, the pursuit of a heart is best approached with subtlety and finesse. In truth, Jiang Yuan was confident that should he reveal some of his cards, it would be difficult for this young lady to remain indifferent. However, in doing so, does it not entirely lose its significance? It is akin to cheating in a video game with cheat codes. Although one may experience fleeting pleasure, the sense of achievement derived from personal conquest is utterly absent, rendering the endeavor a regrettable trade-off. Furthermore, the girl, Yao Qianqian, is distinctly unlike the alluring temptresses one often encounters. Her character is more unique than any girl I have ever met. Yet, as if fate were playing a cruel joke, she possesses a visage that perfectly captivates Jiang Yuan, indeed, a whim of creation. Upon Jiang Yuan's rather animated return to his room, Yao Qianqian regarded her sister with a gaze filled with complexity. "Sister, I know you have sacrificed so much for us, even foregoing the opportunity to study at university in the capital. Nonetheless, there is no need for you to work under such a person. Just look at the patents he wants you to submit. What are they? Some so-called miracle drug for heart disease. How could that possibly be genuine?" Her tone was rife with intricacy and helplessness. However, Yao Wenwen rose with utmost seriousness, scrutinizing her sister intently. With deliberate articulation and a tone of profound sincerity, she replied, "Qianqian, I understand you harbor some misconceptions about my boss, but the reality is not as you perceive it. I do not feel the slightest sense of grievance or oppression working under him. On the contrary, I find great joy in my work. I know you care deeply for me, which makes you instinctively reject someone like my boss. But trust me, Jiang Yuan is truly not as you imagine. While I cannot ascertain the authenticity of this so-called patent, I have faith that my boss's actions are not without justification." Listening to her sister's earnest words, Yao Qianqian fell into a prolonged silence. After a moment, she finally spoke. "If we were to apply for such a special patent, it is impossible to merely fill out information online and approach a local patent office. A trip to the capital's patent bureau is necessary. Some senior students I know from school are currently interning at the medical patent office. If you need assistance, I can help reach out to them." Being a top student at her university, she possessed considerable knowledge regarding medical patent applications. Upon hearing this, Yao Wenwen's face brightened with joy. Habitually, she extended her right index finger to playfully poke Yao Qianqian's delicate nose. "You truly are the thoughtful sister," she exclaimed. Yao Qianqian, taken aback by this gesture, flushed crimson and protested, "Do not treat me like a child. It is quite embarrassing." Yao Wenwen, with a generous demeanor, embraced her sister as if she were a tyrant with a newly acquired bride, declaring playfully, "My own sister, I shall treat you however I please." Overwhelmed by her sister's antics, Yao Qianqian quickly retreated, saying, "I am going back to my room." Yao Wenwen laughed heartily as she watched her sister depart, only to see her figure vanish around the corner of the hallway. Her smile gradually faded from her face. After a long moment, she gently sighed, still just a child. However, Yao Wenwen possessed an exceptional ability to control her emotions. She turned and approached Jiang Yuan's room, cheerfully inquiring, "Boss, I have made some progress on the matter you entrusted to me. May I come in?" Inside the room, upon hearing someone approaching, Jiang Yuan hastily closed his laptop. "Come in," he replied. Yao Wenwen opened the door and cast a suspicious glance at Jiang Yuan. "Boss, why is it that every time I enter, your laptop is always on the desktop?" she asked, her face a mask of confusion. Her little mind was filled with countless questions. "Little one, don't ask so many questions. Just tell me what you have discovered," Jiang Yuan urged. Without hesitation, Yao Wenwen relayed the information her sister had shared with her earlier. It appeared that applying for this particular medical patent required a special trip to the patent office in the capital. Chapter 208. The assistance of senior brothers and sisters. Upon hearing the news, Jiang Yuan felt an even greater urgency to venture to the capital. Securing this unique medical patent would undoubtedly provide him with a significant advantage. In the capital, there was no shortage of other affluent magnates. Should he engage with them, he would possess the necessary strength to contend. Jiang Yuan inquired, "What prompted your sister to offer her help?" Yao woman chuckled lightly. "I'm not entirely sure. Perhaps she finds our boss both handsome and capable, and thus couldn't resist extending her assistance." Jiang Yuan cast her a sidelong glance. "You certainly have a sweet tongue." Yao Wenwen lowered her gaze with a gentle smile, resting lightly against Jiang Yuan's chest. He instinctively opened his arms, embracing her slender waist. The two shared a silence that spoke volumes. Despite his confidence, Jiang Yuan remained humble, acutely aware of Yao Qianqian's lukewarm feelings towards him. Deep down, he suspected that Yao Wenwen had interceded on his behalf. Perhaps in his previous life, he had saved the world, which had granted him such a charming and considerate stewardess. The atmosphere was imbued with a tender tranquility. "The flight has been arranged. We shall depart tomorrow," Jiang Yuan whispered in her ear. Yao Wenwen nodded in response. Yao Qianqian returned to her room, closing the door behind her. With her eyes shut, she let out a long, embarrassed sigh. Truth be told, she regretted her promise to assist her sister almost immediately after agreeing to contact her seniors for help with the patent application. Yet now, she found herself at a loss for words, grappling with her hesitance. A cardiac miracle drug, good heavens. It felt akin to revealing to a rational adult that one was the Monkey King capable of 72 transformations. This was utterly absurd, a farce, a ridiculous jest. "Oh no, I've already promised my sister. I cannot go back on my word," Yao Qianqian lamented inwardly. However, the thought of discussing this matter with her seniors was mortifying. The term social death came to mind. It referred to the humiliation one faced if a young, restless individual were to inadvertently reveal scandalous files from a USB stick during a presentation. After enduring her embarrassment, Yao Qianqian ultimately recalled her sister's expression and steeled herself to take action. She opened her chat group for mutual assistance between new and old students, which included several prominent figures from the medical university, some of whom were interning at the patent office in the capital. After much contemplation regarding her phrasing, she finally managed to compose a coherent message. "Dear seniors, are you currently assisting with a review of medical patents at the patent office in the capital?" Yao Qianqian was quite well known at her school. Her outstanding appearance, frosty demeanor, and exceptional stage presence, coupled with her comprehensive abilities, have allowed her to stand out among the freshmen. Even within the illustrious ranks of the medical university, she undoubtedly shines as a brilliant star. Her popularity on campus is immensely high. This statement immediately attracted a throng of admirers eager to engage. "Dear Junior, I work at the patent office in the capital. If you need anything, feel free to reach out. I am Senior Du. Do you remember me?" "What nonsense, that person was my son. He merely serves as a minor document reviewer at the branch of the patent office in the capital. But I am different. I work at the main patent office. Both of you are just document reviewers. Your assistance may be limited. The one who can truly help is me, as I am involved in the review of pharmaceutical ingredients. Spare us. If you have time for flirting, you should rather enhance your professional skills. Dear Junior, if you wish to apply for a patent on any project, feel free to contact me. I am Senior Lu." Enough already. Junior should be guided by seniors. Let's first hear what the junior wishes to apply for. Upon reading this, Yao Qianqian felt a tightness in her chest and instinctively wanted to say she had no patents to apply for. However, thinking of her sister, she restrained the impulse. Forget it. What's there to lose but face? For Sister Wenwen, I shall go all out. I wish to apply for a medical patent for a miracle drug for heart disease. As soon as her words were sent, the entire chat group fell into a profound silence. After a long pause, a few scattered responses emerged. "Qianqian, have you encountered a scammer? Such matters should not be trifled with. A miracle drug for heart disease? Don't joke around. Qianqian, you must be extremely cautious. There are many scammers and wrongdoers in this society." Yao Qianqian steeled herself and replied, "It is true." The group remained silent for a full 2 hours. Fortunately, in the end, a male and a female senior were willing to assist. They were both directly related to Yao Qianqian, having been trained by the same medical professor, creating a bond that was more intimate than with others. However, this male and female senior were merely obliged to agree out of courtesy. Privately, the seniors opened a chat to express their doubts. Has Qianqian encountered a highly skilled scammer? How could she make such absurd claims? A miracle drug for heart disease? This is utterly ridiculous. It contradicts fundamental common sense. Our professor is an expert in cardiology and has published numerous papers on the subject. Qianqian, as her junior, should know better. When she arrives, let us clarify this matter face to face. The following morning, Jiang Yuan took Yao Wenwen and Yao Qianqian aboard a flight heading to the patent office in the capital. The aircraft soared at an astonishing speed, completing the journey in a mere 3 hours. Upon disembarking, Jiang Yuan spotted a couple in the distance. It was evident that Yao Qianqian was also waving at this pair, unmistakably her senior brothers and sisters. Chapter 209. Sister Zhao Jing has succumbed. Yao Qianqian wore a radiant smile as she waved enthusiastically. Her seniors had taken great care of her during their time at school, and she held them in high regard. She had a considerable amount of trust in her seniors. Jiang Yuan stole a glance at her, and it was the first time he had seen her in such high spirits. The two young individuals, of average height, donned thick glasses that accentuated their scholarly demeanor. They exchanged hushed words, and Qianqian did not appear to be coerced, perhaps merely deceived. Let us find an opportunity to expose this charlatan's deceit. Alas, the world is a treacherous place. Qianqian remains too naive to grasp the nature of such scams. As Jiang Yuan approached, he discerned the features of the young man and woman. Though not strikingly beautiful, their appearance could be deemed above average. Upon meeting, Yao Qianqian affectionately grasped her senior sister's hand, exclaiming, "Sister Jing, it has been too long." The senior siblings were Zhao Jing, the female, and Zhao Zixing, the male. Zhao Jing looked at Yao Qianqian with tender affection, inquiring, "Qianqian, are you truly considering applying for that patent?" Zhao Zixing furrowed his brow, his expression revealing his skepticism. Both felt that this endeavor seemed rather dubious, unlikely to be the pursuit of a rational individual. Upon hearing this, Yao Qianqian felt a twinge of embarrassment. Yet she glanced at her sister and resolutely nodded. She then cast a fleeting look at Jiang Yuan. Zhao Jing and Zhao Zixing's gazes shifted to Jiang Yuan, who, it was presumed, was the one in need of applying for this peculiar patent. Zhao Zixing, though already convinced in his heart that Jiang Yuan was likely an unreliable fraud, planned to unmask his deceit through scientific evidence once they reached the patent office, thus remaining unperturbed. However, Zhao Jing's demeanor brightened, revealing her unease. Wow, this young man possesses striking features. His handsome visage eclipses even those youthful heartthrobs on television. No wonder Qianqian fell for his ruse. Were I in her shoes, I too would be deceived. Zhao Jing's eyes sparkled with admiration. Zhao Zixing, noticing her infatuation, quickly cleared his throat, gesturing for her to regain her composure. Yet, Jiang Yuan's striking good looks were undeniably impactful, capable of enchanting the hearts of most young women with nothing more than his appearance. Zhao Jing stood momentarily entranced, nearly drooling in admiration, until she was jolted back to reality by Zhao Zixing's subtle reminder. She shook her head as if awakening from a dream. Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment, unable to articulate a response. Ultimately, it was Jiang Yuan who broke the silence. "Excuse me, I understand that you are from the patent office. I hope you could guide us in properly handling this matter." Zhao Zixing was elated, amused that Jiang Yuan, rather than remaining discreet, was eager to walk into the trap he had set. "Very well, let us hasten our departure," he replied. His current thoughts and intentions are quite straightforward. After bringing Jiang Yuan to the patent office, he plans to present their items to professionals for examination, and naturally, the results will emerge. At that point, Jiang Yuan's deception will undoubtedly be exposed. Engaging in lengthy discussions and earnestly persuading Yao Qianqian here seems rather futile. It would be far more effective to let facts and science speak for themselves. Such an approach is the most direct and unambiguous. However, Sister Zhao Jing advised him, "Young man, I urge you to think carefully. Once you arrive at the patent office, it is not so easy to retract your steps. If it is discovered that there are issues with the items, it would not only be an embarrassing situation, but you may also face some uncomfortable scrutiny. And there is even the possibility of being sensationalized by unscrupulous media." Yao Qianqian glanced at her sister in shock. "Sister, could it be? Why does she care so much about Jiang Yuan? Could she be infatuated? Yet, there are rumors that Brother Zhao has harbored a crush on her for quite some time. Seeing the girl he likes show favor to another man right before his eyes. Could this lead to chaos?" Feeling uneasy, Yao Qianqian stole a glance at Brother Zhao Zixing. As expected, she noticed a slight discomfort on his face, with a hint of jealousy flickering in his eyes. Although he managed to suppress it well, Zhao Zixing indeed felt a surge of jealousy and anger, but he kept it firmly in check. Internally, he repeatedly reassured himself, "It's all a facade. It's all a facade. This peculiar patent is a sham. This handsome man is also a fraud. Once we reach the patent office, he will be branded a deceiver, and I have no reason to envy him. Zhao Zixing chose to endure. However, he clearly understood that he would not have to endure for 3 years. He merely needed to wait until they reached the patent office, when Jiang Yuan's true nature would be revealed. At that time, he could devise a plan to further influence the situation, confident that his goddess Zhao Jing would not stray. He squeezed a sentence through clenched teeth, urging, "We should hurry and get in the car. The patent office closes at 5:30 in the afternoon, so we must act swiftly." Jiang Yuan nodded in agreement. The two of them had rented a Porsche to fetch their junior sister. Yet, as they prepared to board, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. Originally, Zhao Jing was seated in the passenger seat, while the back was reserved for Jiang Yuan and Yao Qianqian. However, Sister Zhao Jing suddenly suggested, "I'm not feeling well. Let me sit in the back." Furthermore, she deliberately positioned Jiang Yuan in the middle, clearly seeking to establish a closer proximity to him. Zhao Zixing felt blood boiling in his veins. This woman was utterly outrageous. After spending a month at the patent office trying to win her favor, he and T even had the chance to hold her hand. Yet, here came a charming young man, and she eagerly attached herself to him. It was infuriating that others could so easily eclipse his efforts. Ah, women. Jiang Yuan also sighed inwardly. Alas, this society is indeed perilous. As a young man, one must constantly be on guard against the dangers lurking nearby. For instance, this senior sister of Yao Qianqian is clearly a woman of dubious character, brazenly desiring to draw near to me. It is evident that she seeks to take advantage of me, which is utterly shameless. However, to be candid, were it not for the fact that a girl like Yao Qianqian, who perfectly aligns with my preferences, were to pursue me, I might begrudgingly accept her advances. Yet, the senior sister's looks are merely mediocre. My aesthetic sensibilities have long been refined, rendering me unimpressed by such ordinary and insipid individuals. "I would like to sit in the passenger seat," Jiang Yuan stated calmly. Upon hearing this, a flicker of disappointment was unmistakably visible in the eyes of senior sister Zhao Jing, while senior brother Zhao Zixing secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seems this young man is not the type to engage in deceit for money or affection. Once his facade is unveiled, I shall afford him some dignity. Zhao Zixing mused. Chapter 210. The distance between the master and the jester Jiang Yuan calmly gazed out at the scenery beyond the window. The speed of the Porsche was not particularly fast, allowing him to leisurely admire the splendor of the capital. It must be said that the urban landscape of the city was indeed magnificent, with towering skyscrapers, bustling crowds, and opulent landmark buildings adorning the surroundings. It was a realm of prosperity and luxury, the very heart of wealth and honor. However, the air quality was somewhat poor, rendering it less than ideal for relaxation. This was a place for striving, Jiang Yuan remarked. It would be best to complete the task and leave. Such a place was ill-suited for someone like me. A mere slacker. Their destination was soon reached. Upon arriving at the patent office, Jiang Yuan and his companions found an unusually large crowd that day. A considerable number of individuals had come to apply for patents, a dense throng of no fewer than 100 people, by a rough estimate. Jiang Yuan furrowed his brow. "Is it always this crowded here?" Zhao Zixing, with a somewhat peculiar expression, replied, "Well, there are always some rather special individuals who come here to queue each day." "Yao," a woman volunteered, "I can stand in line here. You all can take a break in the waiting area." Jiang Yuan felt a pang of sympathy and turned to Zhao Zixing, asking, "Our patent is quite unique. Can't we establish a green channel?" At the mention of a green channel, Zhao Jing appeared hesitant, and despite her internal struggle, she ultimately refrained from speaking. Zhao Zixing, however, firmly asserted, "Our office operates with complete fairness, justice, and transparency. There is absolutely no green channel. Everyone here is treated equally and must queue." Zhao Jing hesitated briefly before managing to utter, "Yes." In truth, both of them were aware that a green channel did exist, but it required special approval from the head of the patent office. If a patent was sufficiently valuable and significant to catch the director's eye, it would certainly be accommodated. Yet, Jiang Yuan's patent was evidently a farce, claiming to be a miracle drug for heart disease. What nonsense! Although they were interning at the patent office, it did not mean that this establishment was theirs to manipulate. Should they dare present such an absurd and foolish patent for special approval, they would undoubtedly be deemed unreliable, jeopardizing even their internships and future employment prospects. After a moment of hesitation, Zhao Zixing, considering that Yao Wenwen was the sister of his delicate junior and quite beautiful to boot, suggested politely, "I recommend you head to Area D. the lines there shorter. Yao Wenwen nodded, preparing to go. However, Jiang Yuan had other plans. He turned to his senior, Zhao Jing, and said softly, "Could you assist me by queuing?" Jiang Yuan's voice was deep and resonant, gripping Zhao Jing's heart as if by an unseen hand. Enchanted, Zhao Jing nodded eagerly. "All right, I'll go, and I'll return quickly." Once she had departed, the atmosphere shifted, as if the Jiang Yuan's plan had succeeded. He placed his hand on Yao Wenwen's shoulder and said with a smile, "This way, you need not go." Yao Wenwen playfully stuck out her tongue and retorted, "Boss, you seem like one of those unscrupulous women who exploit others for their own benefit, making them do your bidding." Jiang Yuan bent his index finger and playfully poked her nose, laughing, "Isn't this all for you? It's such a hot day. Queuing is exhausting." Zhao Zixing, observing from the side, felt his heart shatter. Jiang Yuan was evidently treating his goddess like a mere tool, ordering her around, even relegating the arduous task of queuing to Zhao Jing. Zhao Zixing's heart bled at the thought of his beloved being reduced to someone else's servant. His irritation was palpable. This fellow was truly beyond reproach. Zhao Zixing, harboring discontent, resolved to embarrass him. With a flicker of thought, he feigned confusion and asked, "Jiang Yuan, you haven't mentioned what patent you intend to apply for." Just as Jiang Yuan was about to respond, revealing his patent for a heart disease remedy, he was interrupted by the sudden entrance of several security personnel, escorting a disheveled individual resembling a beggar. This person was shouting incessantly, "Let me go. I've truly discovered the cure for heart disease. Once my patent is approved, no one in the world will die from heart disease again. Let me go. Believe me, I can plunge humanity into crisis. I am a mad scientist." However, it was clear that none present believed his claims, and they promptly called the Qingshan Psychiatric Hospital. "Hello. The patient who escaped from your facility has returned here, spouting nonsense." Yes, the one surnamed Zhang, the one with delusions, who believes he has invented a heart disease patent. He's a mad scientist. You really should keep a closer eye on such individuals. It seems they escape every few days. Jiang Yuan, upon witnessing this scene, began to understand why Zhao Zixing's expression had been so peculiar moments ago. It turned out that numerous patients with mental disorders believe they had created extraordinary patents and came to this office to cause a commotion daily. Yao Qianqian's face flushed with embarrassment, feeling utterly humiliated. Her reason for being here was to apply for a heart disease patent, akin to that of the deranged individual. What a disgrace. She struggled to articulate her thoughts, her lips moving, yet no words emerged. Nevertheless, Jiang Yuan, maintaining his composure, stated, "In fact, we have a patent related to heart disease that we wish to apply for." Zhao Zixing, who had initially donned a serious expression, found himself unable to contain his amusement at Jiang Yuan's mention of heart disease. He burst into laughter, exclaiming, "I'm sorry, I usually don't laugh like this," and added, "Unless I can't help it." Even Yao Qianqian felt that her senior brother had gone a bit too far with such impropriety. Clearly, Zhao Zixing was taking advantage of Zhao Jing's situation to mock Jiang Yuan, revealing his displeasure. However, Jiang Yuan remained remarkably composed, akin to discussing the vastness of the sky with an ant. Truly a futile endeavor. Only the majestic eagle can truly comprehend the allure of the boundless heavens. At that moment, a middle-aged man nearby in the rest area suddenly spoke up. "Oh, this young friend, at such a tender age, aspires to file a patent concerning heart disease. I, Lu, will be most eager to learn a thing or two." The voice was quite familiar, and Zhao Zixing promptly turned around to see the speaker, exclaiming, "Master Lu, it is you. I cannot believe you are here as well." Chapter 211. Master Lu's appreciation and disappointment. Zhao Zixing's eyes sparkled with admiration as he gazed at the elderly man before him, who had long surpassed his 50s. A melodious theme reminiscent of a hero's entrance seemed to echo in his ears. This individual was an extraordinary magnate, and Zhao Zixing pondered how he might ingratiate himself with such a figure. Jiang Yuan also took a moment to observe the elder. The man was tall and slightly portly, yet his countenance radiated warmth and kindness, his eyes slightly squinted. At first glance, he resembled an ordinary street vendor, lacking distinction. But a closer inspection revealed a unique brilliance within his narrowed eyes. As the saying goes, squinting eyes often belong to extraordinary individuals. And Jiang Yuan immediately sensed the man's exceptional nature. Notably, his sparse hair, reminiscent of a Mediterranean hairstyle, further accentuated his presence. A bald head, after all, is a hallmark of strength. To reach such an extreme is to embrace the crown of baldness. In truth, within the entire medical community, there exist no more than 10 individuals who can be deemed masters each a paragon of excellence and rare brilliance. The last master, Chun, who assisted the Gu sisters in treating their father, prompted such a strong reaction from Tang Chenxin after Jiang Yuan recommended him, underscoring the rarity of such esteemed figures. The elder, revered as Master Lu, is likewise among these luminaries, a titan in the theoretical realm of cardiology. Master Lu, what brings you here today? Zhao Zixing stammered, his nerves causing him to falter in speech. It was his first encounter speaking directly with such an eminent personage, and he felt as though he was rambling. The moment the words left his lips, he chided himself for his nervousness and lack of worldly experience. Surely, he reasoned, someone visiting the patent office must be there to apply for a patent, not for a leisurely stroll. However, Master Lu responded with a gentle smile that enveloped Zhao Zixing like a refreshing spring breeze. I have recently made some advancements in my research. Hence I wish to file a report, he explained amiably. My secretary, Xiao Zhang, is currently in line. What a gracious disposition this master possesses. It was evident he was a top-tier luminary, unperturbed by the incoherence of the younger generation. Furthermore, this esteemed individual had visited the patent office just last month to file a report and, astonishingly, had secured a new patent in a brief span of time, further deepening Zhao Zixing's admiration for him. Please, allow me a moment to inform the director and establish a direct channel for your filing. There is no need for you to wait in line, Zhao Zixing said, his tone a blend of respect and flattery. Jiang Yuan and Yao Wenwen, alongside Yao Qianqian, exchanged glances, recalling Zhao Zixing's earlier declaration about the fairness of queuing. Now, he was eager to create a green channel for the master. How utterly transparent his motives were. In his eagerness to curry favor, Zhao Zixing was unabashed. Even with his junior sister present, his audacity as thick as fortress walls. Master Lu is undoubtedly a top-tier figure. I must devise a way to ingratiate myself with him. However, to my surprise, upon uttering these words, Master Lu's expression immediately shifted, revealing a hint of annoyance and displeasure. What does it matter to wait a few minutes? After all, I have no special circumstances that warrant such an impudent breach of queue etiquette. What would the others in line think? Is there any notion of fairness left? Young man, who taught you to always seek special treatment and privileges? Zhao Zixing trembled in fear, cursing himself internally for being so nervous and forgetful. Master Lu detests anything related to privilege. I have inadvertently flattered him in a most awkward manner. You are absolutely right, Zhao Zixing stammered, hesitant to speak further. A chuckle escaped from Jiang Yuan and Yao Wenwen, seeing her senior so obsequiously fawning over a powerful figure, and yet managing to miss the mark so spectacularly. Yao Qianqian could not help but find it amusing. Secretly looking down on him a notch, Zhao Zixing, embarrassed and incensed, turned to glare at Jiang Yuan and his companions. Jiang Yuan, with a slight smile, retorted playfully, "We usually do not laugh unless we cannot help it." Zhao Zixing was furious, nearly spitting blood. This was precisely the phrase he had used to mock Jiang Yuan moments earlier, and now it was being thrown back at him. Meanwhile, Master Lu had shifted his gaze to Jiang Yuan. "Young man, I understand you have conducted some research on cardiac matters?" Master Lu inquired kindly. "Indeed, I am here to file a patent," Jiang Yuan replied with measured confidence. Master Lu scrutinized Jiang Yuan from head to toe, a warm smile gracing his face. "Young man, how old are you? You must be just over 20, I presume?" Jiang Yuan replied coolly, "A man's age is a secret. I am afraid I cannot disclose it." Zhao Zixing, somewhat irate, interjected, "Mind your words, this is Master Lu." Yet Master Lu paused, then burst into laughter. It was the first time he had encountered a young man bold enough to speak to him in such a manner, and he found it rather amusing. Other young individuals, upon meeting him, were invariably reverent and cautious, much like Zhao Zixing, who was so nervous that his words tumbled over one another in a bid for favor. This was the first time he had met someone like Jiang Yuan, who could engage with him in jest. Master Lu couldn't help but admire Jiang Yuan's calm demeanor, and thus pressed on, "Are you truly here to file a patent?" "As far as I know, the youngest medical patent applicant in the world is over 30. Jiang Yuan nodded affirmatively. Master Lu's admiration deepened, and he was about to inquire further. However, Zhao Zixing could no longer contain himself. He felt a surge of indignation toward Jiang Yuan, convinced that Jiang Yuan was merely a smooth-talking charlatan, a handsome facade masking an empty intellect. Not only did he deceive his own goddess Zhao Jing, who willingly ran errands for him, but even the illustrious Master Lu expressed a modicum of admiration for him. This is fundamentally a charade. He is merely a charlatan devoid of knowledge and skill, and I am determined to unveil his true nature. Master Lu, he claims to have developed a miraculous drug capable of treating various heart ailments, Zhao Zixing exclaimed. If you doubt it, you may inquire directly with him. Upon hearing this, Master Lu's eyes brimmed with astonishment. What? A miraculous drug for heart disease? Is this some sort of nonsense? Could he truly be speaking the truth? Master Lu found it hard to believe. Unexpectedly, Jiang Yuan replied earnestly, yes. A flicker of disappointment flashed in Master Lu's eyes. Alas, what a fine young man, but it seems he is somewhat out of touch with reality. Witnessing this, Zhao Zixing could not help but snicker inwardly, even daring to stoke the flames further. Perhaps I should reach out to the Qing Shan Psychiatric Hospital? Chapter 212. The infinite value of this patent. Jiang Yuan cast a fleeting glance at him, dismissing him as a trivial character unworthy of his attention. Yin Wenwen, unable to contain her frustration, retorted sharply, if you need psychiatric help, please seek it yourself and keep your distance from us. Zhao Zixing remained silent, retreating beside Master Lu, feeling a sense of vindication. Just then, Zhao Jing came running back, her eyes sparkling like stars. She looked at Jiang Yuan with a gentle, bashful smile and announced, the lineup is ready. You should go and submit your application now. The efficiency is quite commendable. Jiang Yuan, pleased and affectionate, ruffled her hair, deciding to reward her slightly. The reward was a playful pat on the head. Zhao Jing, much like a playful kitten amused by her owner, could not resist the comfort of his gesture and contentedly squinted her eyes. Witnessing this scene, the irritation Zhao Zixing had just expelled was swiftly drawn back in. Goodness. After all this time pining for the goddess, now she is acting like a charming little kitten in another man's hand. Zhao Zixing's composure shattered, overwhelmed by a tumult of emotions. Without further ado, Jiang Yuan prepared to submit the patent application. However, before he left, Master Lu could not help but offer a word of caution. With a wry smile, he advised, young man, one must take life one step at a time, tackling each task methodically. It is essential to remain grounded and not solely fixate on distant, unrealistic aspirations, but also to acknowledge the pressing realities at hand. His words were delivered with tact, clearly aimed at preserving Jiang Yuan's dignity. Yet, the implication was unmistakable. He believed Jiang Yuan's patent to be utterly implausible, a miracle drug for heart disease, something no sensible adult would deem credible. Jiang Yuan was not perturbed. He could discern that Master Lu was a man of integrity, speaking from a place of concern, albeit lacking faith in his invention. Thank you for your guidance, Master Lu, Jiang Yuan politely replied before proceeding to the submission window. He presented the patent application documents that Yin Wenwen had painstakingly prepared overnight to the attendant at the counter. The processing was swift, but the examination phase required a waiting period of approximately 12 working hours. Boss, it seems we won't have the review completed until tomorrow, Yin Wenwen said cheerfully. Why don't we explore the city today? It's my first time in such a place. Let us visit some famous landmarks. Jiang Yuan pondered briefly and found the suggestion appealing. The capital, as the heart of the Dragon Kingdom, symbolizes all wealth and honor. It is replete with attractions, countless in number. The Yin sisters, both experiencing this city for the first time, were brimming with curiosity. In truth, Jiang Yuan had come to the capital for the second time, having previously visited solely as a tourist, an experience that left him with some rather unpleasant memories. Moreover, as it was the centenary celebration of the Tang family's patriarch, he felt it inappropriate to arrive empty-handed. He ought to prepare a few gifts. Perhaps a leisurely stroll would yield some suitable presents, he contemplated. Yao Wenwen excitedly proposed, let's explore the most luxurious street in the capital. Yao Qianqian inquired, which is the most opulent street in the capital? Jiang Yuan and Yao Wenwen answered in unison, Dragon Kingdom Avenue, the foremost commercial street in Huaxia. The two exchanged knowing glances, unable to suppress their smiles. Impatient to embark on their adventure, they hurriedly exited and boarded a Porsche, three of them setting off towards their destination. Meanwhile, at the patent office, Jiang Yuan's submission had incited considerable commotion. The upper echelons of the office were stirred, convening an emergency meeting. Yet, the outcome of this gathering was mired in contention. This is undoubtedly a groundbreaking patent. I would wager my future and fate on its authenticity and reliability. However, we currently lack the necessary equipment and personnel to conduct a thorough review. To hastily approve it may not be prudent. Are we to allow this patent to languish in our hands, merely due to our incompetence and ignorance, resulting in a rejection? That would be utterly absurd. Due to the discord within, they ultimately resolved to seek external assistance. Master Lu was patiently awaiting in the lounge of the patent office. while Zhao Zixing diligently attended to him, serving tea and offering massages, exerting every effort to please. Meanwhile, representatives from the patent office were dispatched to extend an invitation. A slender, bald man in a suit approached Master Lu with utmost respect. Upon recognizing the individual, Zhao Zixing was taken aback. "Director Zhang, you have come personally? You are here to host Master Lu, are you not?" This was a significant figure, one Zhao Zixing rarely encountered. Master Lu furrowed his brow and firmly stated, "Do not treat me with any special privileges or expedited processes. I am content to wait in line." Director Zhang, realizing the misunderstanding, could not help but chuckle. "It is not that, Master Lu. We are in urgent need of your assistance. There is a patent requiring your review." Master Lu was momentarily taken aback. Amidst the plethora of talent at the patent office, there existed a patent that even they could not verify. Such a patent would undoubtedly be exceedingly rare and valuable. "If that is the case, I am most intrigued. Lead the way. It is indeed an honor to be called upon in this manner," he replied with exuberance, rising to follow Director Zhang into the inner sanctum of the patent office. Zhao Zixing wished to accompany them, but was intercepted by several individuals. "What is your standing? Return to your designated area." Zhao Zixing walked away, feeling dejected. Not long after, Master Lu encountered this rather extraordinary patent application, accompanied by a gathering of high-ranking officials from the patent office. The presence of so many esteemed figures raised his curiosity. Could this patent truly hold such significance? A sense of anticipation surged within Master Lu as he pondered the nature of this patent. Chapter 213. The astonishment of Master Lu. Master Lu rubbed his hands together in excitement, eagerly anticipating the identity of the renowned expert who had developed a new technology. The patent office was home to many distinguished figures in the industry. If even they were unable to complete the review, it would signify the immense importance and value of this innovation. Perhaps it was Master Lu from Onqing, who had dedicated many years to his research, potentially achieving a recent breakthrough. It could also be Master Zhao from Huqing or Master Zhu from Pingcheng, both of whom were illustrious figures in Longhua. Master Lu's mind raced with speculation. As all these individuals were undoubtedly masters of their craft, it was only under their auspices that something truly rare could emerge. Upon pushing open the door to the internal conference room, Master Lu immediately began scanning the room with an uncharacteristic disregard for decorum. However, he was perplexed to find none of the masters he had anticipated present. Unable to contain himself, he inquired, "Have you summoned me to assist with the review? Where's the master who proposed this new technology?" At this, the senior officials of the patent office exchanged awkward glances. In truth, the individual who had introduced the new technology was not a celebrated master, but rather a young person from the grassroots level. To preserve the authority of the patent office, they had asked him to wait for the review, but their technical expertise was evidently insufficient to fully validate the technology, thus they had specially invited Master Lu to assist. Upon hearing this, Master Lu was taken aback. The creator of a groundbreaking technology was not a master at all, but merely an obscure, young individual. This was indeed a rarity. However, his astonishment was fleeting. Historically, exceptional talents have emerged from the common folk, and while this adage had not been proven in recent years, it did not negate the existence of gifted individuals outside the limelight. The wise Master Lu, with his extensive experience, would not underestimate the potential of the youth. Perhaps a prodigious talent had indeed surfaced. Who could say for certain? Yet, in comparison to the identity of the innovator, Master Lu's primary interest lay in the technology itself. "Please present me with the patent application and review materials," he stated calmly. "I wish to personally examine this technology that has eluded even your seasoned experts. Could it be that your years of comfort have led to a decline in your technical prowess?" The experts at the patent office exchanged wry smiles, but refrained from contradicting him, fully aware of what was to unfold next. Three secretaries promptly placed a substantial folder of neatly organized documents before Master Lu. As he opened the folder and began to scrutinize its contents, his expression underwent a rapid transformation akin to the dramatic face-changing in Sichuan opera. Initially indifferent and skeptical, his demeanor soon shifted to one of intense concentration, followed by a profound gravity. The more he read, the more alarmed he became, to the point where he felt as though his heart might leap from his chest. "Impossible!" Master Lu exclaimed, utterly astonished. "Is it truly the creation of an unknown young man? I refuse to believe it. There must be influential figures supporting him from behind. How could one individual possibly develop such a groundbreaking innovation?" The experts at the patent office shook their heads in disbelief, sharing a wry smile. "The value of this patent is astonishing," something they had never encountered before, and their expressions mirrored each other's astonishment. Master Lu's countenance turned grave. Provide me with that young man's information. He cannot possibly be an inconsequential individual. The development of any medical technology necessitates substantial financial investment. Which pharmaceutical company in the world has not expended hundreds of billions to secure their medical patents? Upon hearing this, the leaders among the patent office's experts exchanged knowing smiles. How could they have overlooked such matters? They had already initiated a background investigation into Jiang Yuan, although such inquiries required time. Meanwhile, Master Lu fixated on the patent application form, cold sweat trickling down his forehead. The form was deceptively simple, lacking even basic pharmacology. It contained merely a list of components and their proportions. Yet, from these mere details, Master Lu discerned extraordinary implications. As an expert dedicated to cardiology, he was intimately familiar with the characteristics of these pharmaceutical components, but he had never conceived that someone could ingeniously combine them in such a manner. At that moment, a realization struck Lu, causing his expression to shift drastically. Could it be that young man? He recalled the brief confrontation between Jiang Yuan and Zhao Zixing, as well as Jiang Yuan's earnest declaration regarding his patent. He hurriedly inquired about the applicant's appearance and height, and upon gathering these details, it became evident that they matched Jiang Yuan perfectly. Indeed, it was him. I nearly brushed shoulders with such a legendary figure. Master Lu felt a pang of regret. He was so close to engaging with the individual behind this patent. Even if he could not forge a connection, at the very least, he could have become a familiar face. Perhaps in the future, should Jiang Yuan develop something new, he might be able to offer assistance. Wouldn't that afford him the opportunity to claim a share of a super patent? This was a chance to etch his name in history. Much like the ancient poets, whose verses immortalized figures such as Wang Luan through Li Bai's poem to Wang Luan. If Jiang Yuan were to create another patent and include a small acknowledgement for him, he too could bask in reflected glory and achieve historical renown. As he contemplated this, the illustrious Master Lu felt a profound sense of loss. He had squandered such a golden opportunity, all because of Zhao Zixing, that inexplicable jealousy. I see him as envious of Jiang Yuan's talent, maligning him and leading me astray. If only I had asked a few more questions at the time, would it have come to this? Master Lu seethed with anger. He felt as though Zhao Zixing had manipulated him, leading him to prematurely dismiss Jiang Yuan's work as untrustworthy. Wasn't this a regrettable misstep? Upon contemplating this, Master Lu, with a frigid expression, suddenly spoke. There's a young man named Zhao Zixing at your patent office, whose work ethic is rather lacking. He is constantly seeking to establish special channels for privileges on my behalf. I trust that such an individual will not be granted a permanent position, will he? The senior officials of the patent office, upon hearing this, exchanged glances and remarked, he is merely an intern, yet he has managed to offend Master Lu. This Zhao Zixing indeed has not exhibited commendable behavior. His attitude towards work leaves much to be desired. Naturally, we have no intention of promoting him. In fact, we were already prepared to have him gather his belongings and depart. One official solemnly fabricated this narrative. In truth, they possessed no genuine concern for the intern. They were entirely oblivious to who Zhao Zixing was, let alone his performance. However, since he had incurred Master Lu's displeasure, regardless of his potential merits or diligent demeanor, he could only receive an apologetic farewell and be shown the door. Chapter 214. The exquisite murals. Jiang Yuan alighted from the vehicle, stepping onto a rather opulent street. This was none other than the foremost commercial avenue of Huaxia, Longwei Avenue. Yao Qianqian and Yao Wenwen's eyes sparkled with excitement. It was evident that their shopping desires were unabated in this locale. Whether it be high-end luxury goods or affordable everyday items, this place had it all. Jiang Yuan came here not only to unwind and indulge in leisurely shopping, but also to casually seek out suitable gifts for the esteemed elder of the Tang family. After all, his relationship with Tang Xinxin had seen significant advancement since their last encounter. Thus, attending the grand birthday celebration of the Tang family had an undertone of visiting his in-laws. For this inaugural visit, it was imperative to present a gift. What should I offer? Jiang Yuan pondered. Just as he was grappling with indecision, Yao Wenwen and Qianqian had already enthusiastically entered a lavish jewelry store. Although they were well aware that they could not afford the extravagant items, it did not deter them from browsing. Strolling and shopping are often two distinct experiences. Jiang Yuan rubbed his nose. He was not particularly fond of such jewelry shops. His gaze was drawn to a neighboring establishment. An antiquated and elegant sign bore the name Xianlin Art, inscribed in graceful calligraphy. An art gallery, perhaps? The individuals from the Tang family likely have an appreciation for refined art. This place may harbor what I seek, he mused. He cast a brief glance and saw that the Yao sisters were joyfully trying on various pieces within the jewelry store. This would undoubtedly take some time. If you find anything you fancy, let me know, and I shall pay a visit to the shop next door, Jiang Yuan casually instructed. Understood, boss. Yao Wenwen replied with a playful wink. Jiang Yuan temporarily parted ways with him and stepped into the art shop, Xianlin Art. Upon entering, he was immediately captivated by the dazzling array of artworks. The multitude of sculptures and paintings was truly breathtaking. Jiang Yuan marveled at the splendor. However, he also noticed several foreign patrons engaged in animated conversation, which soon escalated into a heated debate. Their faces flushed with fervor. They seemed to argue passionately about some matter. Fortunately, having passed level 4 in his language studies, Jiang Yuan found that, while he was not particularly fluent, he could comprehend their discourse with relative ease. Darling, look at this magnificent sculpture, Apollo and the Lyre. I dare say it is undoubtedly the most valuable item in this store. No. I believe Odin's spear is the priciest sculpture here. You all are mistaken. This artwork, the 8-headed serpent, is clearly the most valuable piece in the gallery. After listening for a while, Jiang Yuan finally grasped the essence of their debate. It turned out that the collection housed at Xianlin Art was remarkably diverse, featuring artworks from various nations. Each nationality was eager to assert that their cultural artifacts held the highest artistic value. If you wish to discuss this, I shall no longer feel drowsy. When it comes to the value of art, it is undoubtedly the artworks of the Dragon Kingdom that hold the highest esteem. Were Greek mythology, Norse mythology, or any other mythological artworks but mere trifles? The masterpieces bequeathed by our ancestors, even those that are almost in ruins, possess immeasurable worth. Jiang Yuan began to search with his gaze. Soon, a mural of ancient elegance, solemnity, and grandeur caught his eye. Jiang Yuan couldn't help but feel a spark of excitement. Could this be the famed mural of the Dharmasi Zen temple? Years ago, he had stumbled upon information about this mural in a television news segment. The mural depicted 77 figures, men and women, young and old. A plethora of deities engaged in preaching, meditating, and soaring through the air, each with distinct postures and expressions. This was identical to what Jiang Yuan beheld before him. Clearly, such a piece could not be an ordinary counterfeit. Even with Jiang Yuan's current perspective, he found this mural exceedingly breathtaking. The sensation was extraordinary, akin to a person gazing at the vast ocean from a mountain peak, an uncontrollable surge of passion swelling within. This is a treasure. Jiang Yuan felt his heart race. Meanwhile, the foreign onlookers continued their spirited debate. I contend that even if it is not Apollo with his lyre, it surpasses Athena of the Piraeus port. Do not jest. This depiction of Asgard illustrates the realm of the gods, and Thor with his hammer holds unparalleled value. Certainly no less than yours. Quiet down. Here lies a katana, the Kikuchimanji, which is undeniably on par with any of your possessions. Jiang Yuan could not be bothered to engage in the squabbles of these narrow-minded individuals. He yearned to touch the mural as if it were a precious gem. However, at that moment, the surroundings suddenly fell silent. The previously boisterous crowd collectively succumbed to a hush. Jiang Yuan sensed something amiss and turned his head. He beheld a slender young woman, adorned with a mask, leisurely strolling into the store. Her figure was well-proportioned, neither excessively slender nor overly voluptuous, just perfectly balanced. The others, upon seeing her, instinctively parted to create a path, seemingly too intimidated to approach her, as if fearing she might consume them whole. Who was this woman? Such an imposing presence. Jiang Yuan couldn't help but feel curious. To his surprise, she was approaching him. As she drew near, Jiang Yuan gazed into her starry eyes, akin to polished lacquer. How beautiful those eyes are. Were she to remove her mask, she would likely be a devastating beauty. Jiang Yuan marveled. However, the young woman did not cast her gaze upon him. Instead, she fixated directly on the mural beside him. She nodded in satisfaction and intended to purchase it. Jiang Yuan's brows furrowed slightly. This was something he had laid claim to first, and he could not allow her to outmaneuver him. Yet, he had not the chance to voice his thoughts. The shop assistant expressed an apology, stating, "I am sorry, but this painting is not for sale. It is merely a decorative piece placed here by our owner and is not intended for sale." The woman leaned in close to the assistant's ear, whispering something inaudible, causing the assistant's expression to change dramatically. "I cannot make a decision here. I will fetch the owner." With that, the assistant hurriedly began to contact the proprietor. Meanwhile, Jiang Yuan furrowed his brow even deeper. He had already taken a liking to the mural and was determined to acquire it today, no matter what. Chapter 2:15. Zhang Simei Jiang Yuan, newly arrived in the capital, was a stranger to many here. However, within the Xianlin art shop, the clientele consisted primarily of regular patrons, each familiar with one another and sharing snippets of information. Zhang Simei had returned, but what was her purpose this time? Recently, she had been spotted in several art shops. Was there a significant banquet approaching? It was rumored that an esteemed elder from a prominent family was to celebrate a centenary. Perhaps she was in search of a gift. Listening to the whispers around him, Jiang Yuan found himself both amused and bemused. It appeared that this enigmatic woman, Zhang Simei, likely harbored a similar intention as his own, to procure gifts for the centennial celebration of the Tang family patriarch. Upon reflection, Jiang Yuan deemed this entirely plausible. After all, within the circles of the affluent, presenting mere, ordinary luxuries would seem dreadfully insipid. Most luxury items, primarily composed of gold and diamonds, could become tiresome upon prolonged exposure. Even limited edition luxury goods, while exclusive, were easily attainable with wealth, rendering them less remarkable amidst a throng of guests. Art, however, stood apart. Each exquisite piece could command astronomical prices, its intrinsic worth rivaling that of luxury goods. Furthermore, many precious artworks were unique, existing as the sole specimen in the world. The channels for acquisition were scarce, and information was often elusive. Yet, what others struggled to procure I have obtained. This is status, this is prestige. This is precisely what Xianlin Art Shop embodies. After the previous incident, Little Tang had nearly become an ally of mine. When gifting our elders, one must naturally select the finest. Jiang Yuan resolved to await the shopkeeper's emergence to explore further exquisite offerings. Meanwhile, the woman known as Zhang Simei, seemingly energetic and restless, could not remain idle. Casting a glance at the foreign patrons, she immediately launched into a fervent critique. Ah, Elot, surely, you're not here squabbling over which artwork holds the utmost value again? Surely not. That so-called Apollo and the Lyre is merely a replica crafted by an obscure sculptor 4 centuries ago in homage to the original. Can you truly not discern this? And as for Odin's spear, I just gave it a light tap, and its sound was utterly muddled. Do you genuinely believe this is the fabled treasure? A gaggle of fools fixating on a heap of worthless trinkets, while the true masterpieces lay neglected. Her words struck with conviction and clarity, as she laid bare the flaws of those foreign artworks, albeit with somewhat coarse language, even resorting to profanity. The other foreigners, their faces flushed with embarrassment, dared not retort. The most extreme of banter, the purest form of enjoyment, sighed Jiang Yuan. We are individuals of refinement, seldom resorting to vulgar language unless utterly provoked. After uttering her words, Zhang Simei cast a furtive glance in Jiang Yuan's direction, noting that he alone among the patrons had appreciated the mural. The young man possessed an appealing visage and commendable taste. However, should he dare to contend for this mural, harmonious coexistence would be out of the question. Zhang Simei regarded Jiang Yuan, a dangerous glimmer gradually surfacing in her eyes. Jiang Yuan met her gaze with calm assurance, smiling faintly and nodding, evidently unperturbed by her demeanor. Dear sir, I had my eye on this painting first. Considering I am but a delicate woman, perhaps you might generously concede it to me. Zhang Simei stated with an expressionless, frosty tone. Delicate, you say? Are you certain? Just moments ago, you were far from courteous in your remarks about others. Jiang Yuan replied with a polite smile. In truth, I intended to purchase this mural for someone else, a lady even more delicate than you. Might you contemplate another option? Upon hearing this, Zhang Simei's brows furrowed, and anger sparked in her eyes. Just as she prepared to retort, an elderly figure entered the establishment. Is that not the 4th miss of the Zhang family? What brings you to this humble shop? Upon hearing this voice, Zhang Simei's breath hitched, and the words poised on her lips were suddenly swallowed. Jiang Yuan discerned that she likely had no intentions of offering him kind words. Yet, out of respect for the elder, she restrained herself. Clearly, the elder held a distinguished status. Master Xian, how much for this mural? Name your price. I am willing to pay. Zhang Simei laughed heartily. Master Xian, Jiang Yuan mentally noted the elder's name. This piece is not for sale. Besides, I am not in want of money, so why would I part with it? The elder chuckled. It is merely a decorative item. There are other treasures in the shop. You should explore those. Zhang Simei, taken aback by the rejection, pressed on, but what if I insist on having this mural? The elder pondered for a moment before responding. Such items I only give to my friends. A foreign gentleman nearby couldn't help but inquire, what must one do to become your friend? Other foreign patrons also gazed at the shopkeeper with eager anticipation. It was evident to all that the mural possessed considerable value. To become a shopkeeper's friend would mean acquiring a treasure without cost. Now that would be the ultimate pleasure. However, Master Xian merely glanced at the eager crowd and countered. What do you believe constitutes friendship? Is that even a question? Zhang Simei interjected, eager to respond. It must be a relationship of mutual benefit. No one acts kindly without reason. Only interests are eternal. She has been influenced by this educational perspective since childhood. Thus she responded promptly. However, the shopkeeper Su smiled and shook his head, indicating his disapproval of her answer. Other foreigners offered a myriad of diverse responses. The sentiment that those of the same skin color can easily become friends resonates with a traditional saying from the Dragon Kingdom. Those who are not of our kind will have different hearts. In my view, individuals who share the same beliefs are the truest of friends. Our shared faith signifies that we possess similar convictions, which can forge a profound connection between us. I believe that neighbors living in close proximity are indeed good friends. I hold that only those bound by blood can truly be considered friends. Nevertheless, the shopkeeper Su expressed his disagreement with each of these responses. Jiang Yuan pondered how to approach this question. Chapter 2:16. The test of questions. Jiang Yuan's response. Jiang Yuan pondered for a moment before responding. Like-minded companions. His answer was succinct, merely 4 characters. Yet his voice resonated with a distinctive clarity that compelled the entire audience to lower their voices. Clap, clap, clap. The shopkeeper Su cast an appreciative glance at Jiang Yuan, applauding him. Indeed, I too believe that only those with shared aspirations can be deemed friends. The shopkeeper remarked with a smile. Beside them, Zhang Simei bristled at the remark, questioning where her own response had faltered. Nonetheless, she recognized this was not the moment for rebuttal, as it was not the crux of the matter. The pressing concern was how to acquire the mural before them. Prompting her to inquire, what interest do you possess? The shopkeeper, Su, clapped his hands, signaling a young attendant to present a set of wine utensils along with a small vial of rice wine housed in fine jade porcelain. A true friend is worth 1,000 cups of wine. My greatest passion in life is undoubtedly exquisite wine, he declared, igniting the utensils and gently warming the wine. Zhang Simei observed the ritual with a mix of curiosity and confusion. Modern wines are far different from those of antiquity. The ancients merely consumed fermented beverages that required warming. What is your purpose here? She could not help but ask. Su chuckled knowingly in response. The foreign onlookers, however, remained utterly baffled by this cultural nuance. Jiang Yuan, on the other hand, possessed a modicum of understanding. In his hometown of Qinghe County, a similar tradition of warming wine was also practiced. In my homeland, we too have preserved this tradition of warming wine. Our homemade rice wine, while slightly murky, becomes delightful when gently heated, Jiang Yuan explained. The shopkeeper, Su, regarded him with a hint of surprise. This young man not only answered his question, but also shared a custom from his own locale that mirrored his own. Zhang Simei, sensing the unfavorable turn of events, felt urgency rise within her. If Jiang Yuan, this remarkable individual, were to seize the opportunity, her reputation would be irrevocably tarnished. It's merely wine, after all. My family possesses an extensive collection of renowned red and white wines. Should you desire, I would gladly invite you to my home for an abundant tasting, she hastily proposed. Furthermore, I assure you that the rare wines my elders have collected are invaluable, nearly unattainable in the outside world. Your visit would surely be worthwhile, she added. Her strategy transparent. She aimed to entice him with the allure of benefit. However, she was taken aback by the shopkeeper's displeasure. I have savored the majority of the world's fine wines. I have long grown weary of them, Su replied coolly. Thus, I find myself yearning for the rice wine of my homeland, which possesses a uniquely exquisite flavor when warmed. Zhang Simei, quick-witted as she was, recognized the shift in atmosphere and promptly redirected the conversation. In truth, I have conducted considerable research on many prestigious wines, she stated with calm confidence. Why not pose a question to test my knowledge? I am certain I shall not disappoint you. Her gaze was filled with assurance and pride. Jiang Yuan, equally unyielding, declared, Please, present your question. Seeing the unwavering determination of the two, and having a favorable impression of Jiang Yuan, the shopkeeper of Xian could not bring himself to refuse outright, especially considering the influential figures behind Zhang Simei. He thus acquiesced. Xiao Qi, bring forth my treasure collection and pour a glass for each, the shopkeeper instructed his assistant. Upon hearing this, the assistant named Xiao Qi swiftly darted off to fulfill the task. Approximately 10 minutes later, 13 glasses of red wine were presented. Each was contained within identical white porcelain cups, appearing almost indistinguishable from one another. The shopkeeper, maintaining a calm demeanor, remarked, "If you can discern the origins and vintages of these 13 glasses of wine, I shall consider you a kindred spirit and bestow upon you a mural as a mere trifle." This was his formal challenge, to guess the vintages and brands of the red wines blindly. The majority of onlookers were left bewildered. Were not all the wines alike, all contained in white porcelain cups and filled with red liquid? How could anyone differentiate them? Was this not a deliberate attempt to perplex? Jiang Simei's expression mirrored the discomfort of the crowd. Being a young woman, she was not particularly fond of wine. In the past, she had only succumbed to the coaxing of elders during family gatherings, sipping 1 or 2 glasses. Now, being asked to guess, she felt truly challenged. Nevertheless, she possessed an innate pride and a stubborn spirit, confident in her intellect. Even if she had tasted a wine only once, she believed her palate would recall it with certainty. Jiang Simei lifted a glass, furrowing her brow in contemplation, then declared, "This should be a Siege-To Lafite, approximately 30 years old." The shopkeeper responded with an intrigued "oh," as he regarded her with rare admiration, exclaiming, "Quite impressive." Encouraged, she sampled another glass but hesitated to set it down, admitting she had not tasted it before. Undeterred, she continued to taste each of the 13 glasses. "This is from Siege-To de Pomerol, around 10 years old. This is from Siege-To Saint Milion, approximately 20 years old. This one is from Kangsha Y Toro, about 10 years old." She successfully identified 4 out of the 13, a commendable feat. Clapping his hands, the shopkeeper exclaimed, as expected of the renowned Jiang Simei, "Even my casual challenge could not stump you to this degree." Jiang Simei, akin to a proud phoenix, lifted her head high. However, at that moment, Jiang Yuan spoke up. "I would like to give a try." As his words echoed, the attention of the entire room shifted to him. There were looks of skepticism, disdain, and anticipation. Even Jiang Simei had only managed to identify 4 glasses. How could he possess the confidence to attempt the challenge? Youth often brims with an unwillingness to concede, and while it was merely an attempt on his part, he had previously held the upper hand until Jiang Simei's inquiry disrupted the atmosphere. The young man is truly unfortunate, attempting to compete with Jiang Simei, yet the prospects of success appear exceedingly slim. Observing Jiang Yuan's unwavering gaze, the tavern owner, Xian, nodded in acknowledgement and instructed Xiao Qi to bring forth 13 cups of wine once more. Jiang Yuan picked up the first cup and extended his tongue to savor the wine's essence. A faint smile graced his lips as he remarked, "Although this is wine from the Lafite estate, it is not of the 30-year vintage." Upon hearing these words, Xian couldn't help but cast a surprised glance at him. This young fellow seems to possess some depth. Chapter 217. I am a master of Yuan Mei. Jiang Yuan was neither speaking recklessly nor was he merely fortunate. Not long ago, the mysterious party hosted by Tang Qinxin took place within an expansive underground wine cellar. This cellar, constructed at great expense by the Tang family, is indeed the largest wine collection room in the world. Inside this remarkable collection, Jiang Yuan was truly astounded as Miss Tang personally introduced him to the qualities and vintages of various fine wines. How rare it is for an ordinary individual to have the opportunity to sample such an extensive array of prestigious wines. Consequently, Jiang Yuan's knowledge of red wine significantly expanded. At this moment, he articulated the components and brands of 13 glasses of wine as if they were his own treasured possessions. The first glass appeared to be a Siege-To Lafite from around 2023, although the sunlight intensity and rainfall that year seemed less than ideal for winemaking, resulting in a relatively mediocre quality. The second glass was likely from Siege-To Haut-Brion, dating approximately to 2033. This estate, one of the smallest among the world's top wineries, is renowned for its exquisite style and is among the earliest established vineyards. The third glass was exceptional, presumably a Siege-To Mouton Rothschild from around 2045, a winery once favored by royalty, where the illustrious artist Picasso had painted decades ago. This particular wine had a complex flavor profile, with a distinctive aroma reminiscent of delicate violets. If you were not mistaken, it should be the esteemed Siege-To Margaux, fortuitously from an excellent vintage of about 30 years. Another glass was notably unique, with a full body and rich aroma, accompanied by a robust fruit scent, likely a specialty from Siege-To Cheval Blanc. As for the next, its deep color, fragrant bouquet, and balanced yet rich body suggested it was from Siege-To Petrus, dating around 20 years. Jiang Yuan successfully identified 11 out of the 13 glasses. Furthermore, he corrected several inaccuracies previously stated by Jiang Simei, showcasing his superior understanding of wine. Surrounding individuals were left in a state of incredulous astonishment. Jiang Simei's expression shifted dramatically. She had assumed victory was assured, confidently boasting her ability to answer. Yet, Jiang Yuan's performance unequivocally demonstrated otherwise. The shopkeeper Xian was equally astonished. This young man was indeed an expert in wines, perhaps surpassing even his own expertise. Initially, Xian had proposed this challenge on a whim, never anticipating that someone would be capable of such responses. However, Jiang Yuan provided him with a delightful surprise. To be candid, based on today's myriad performances, Xian's first impression of Jiang Yuan was exceptionally favorable. Not only was he well-informed, but he also possessed remarkable intelligence and acumen. Originally, he mentioned gifting this national-style mural to a friend, which at best seemed like a mere token gesture, a way to inspire others. However, to his surprise, he found himself genuinely contemplating the idea of befriending the young Jiang Yuan, seeking a friendship that transcends age. Jiang Simei felt a pang of unease. Could it be that something she desired could be taken from her by an unfamiliar young man? This was her domain, the capital city. To suffer a loss here would not merely be a matter of pride. It would bring shame upon her family as well. With her brow furrowed in contemplation, she recognized her advantages. Being a native of the capital, her channels for information were undoubtedly far more extensive than Jiang Yuan's. Suddenly, a thought struck her, and she seized the moment. Shopkeeper, your granddaughter must be starting middle school this year. How has she been faring lately? The shopkeeper, initially jovial as he observed Jiang Yuan, instantly adopted a weary expression upon hearing about his granddaughter. With a wry smile, he replied, the tumult of adolescence. She has been quite rebellious, frequently quarreling with us at home. Jiang Simei probed further. What are the disputes about? Perhaps I could offer some assistance. The shopkeeper sighed, acknowledging that every family has its own challenges. His greatest dilemma was indeed his granddaughter, who had recently become enamored with a game called Glory. She was desperate to acquire a rare item known as the True Dragon Sniper, which was no longer available for purchase anywhere. Understanding the situation, Jiang Simei realized that Glory was currently the most popular mobile game, raking in billions monthly, functioning as a veritable printing press, attracting countless young fans with its exclusive items. Even if the True Dragon Sniper is unattainable, I possess several commendable Glory accounts. I could gift one to your granddaughter, and she would surely be pleased. Jiang Simei proposed with a smile. The shopkeeper was somewhat intrigued. Being older, he was not well-versed in the interests of youth. His greatest vulnerability lay in his rebellious granddaughter, who was particularly challenging to please. However, given Jiang Simei's confidence that her account would delight the young girl, he felt a surge of hope. Just then, Jiang Yuan unexpectedly interjected, the True Dragon Sniper? Glory? I can procure it. Not just the True Dragon Sniper, but any exclusive game item. His declaration caught the shopkeeper by surprise, who responded with astonishment. Is that truly the case? His granddaughter was notorious for her stubbornness, insisting on acquiring any desired item without exception. Yet, some exclusive items could not be obtained outside their limited availability. Given her fiery disposition, she refused to settle for anyone else's account, insisting on having her own. Jiang Yuan's bold claim made Jiang Simei anxious. On what grounds do you assert that? Are you, perchance, the owner of the game company? Jiang Yuan nodded earnestly. Indeed, I am the owner of Yuanmei. Jiang Simei gasped in disbelief, struggling to comprehend the situation. The shopkeeper, Xian, was equally taken aback. The surrounding foreigners were engulfed in astonishment. Ding. Shock value 800 ding. Shock value 800 ding. Shock value 800. Yuanmei Game Company had emerged as one of the most sought-after game developers in the country in recent years, with its exquisite games capturing the hearts of the public. Even these individuals from distant lands found themselves captivated by these exceptional creations. To think he was the owner of Yuanmei Company was utterly inconceivable. I am an ardent admirer of all their products, and I never expected to encounter their owner right here today. It appears that the proprietor of Yuanmei is remarkably young. He seems to be in his early 20s. Truly a prodigy. Which young person does not indulge in their games? Just the revenue from their flagship game, Glory, has exceeded hundreds of billions within a month. I envy him. At my age, I was still pursuing my studies, yet he has already established himself as the master of Yuanmei Company. Could I approach him for an autograph? As the atmosphere grew increasingly tense, Jiang Simei, unwilling to yield, inquired, what evidence do you have to substantiate your claims? Jiang Yuan casually retrieved his phone from his pocket and dialed the number of his assistant at Yuanmei Company. Chapter 218. A grand invitation from the patent office. Jiang Yuan spoke softly into the phone. I have a request regarding Glory. Please connect me with the relevant department in the company. The petite secretary from Yuan Mei Company responded sweetly. Of course, Mr. Jiang, please hold on. The efficiency of Yuan Mei Company was remarkable. Within 3 to 4 minutes, Jiang Yuan received a specialist contact number. He handed the number to the shop owner Xian and said calmly, if you have any requirements, feel free to reach out to him. He will do his utmost to accommodate your needs. Xian's expression transformed into one of a proud father, relieved to finally provide an explanation for his little ancestor at home, hoping his grandson would be satisfied. His favorable impression of Jiang Yuan soared to new heights. Young friend, may I ask your name? Xian suddenly remembered that he did not know Jiang Yuan's name. I am Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan. Upon hearing the name, Xian nodded with a smile, while Zhang Simei, standing nearby, was taken aback. You are Jiang Yuan? She was no stranger to the name, having heard rumors that Miss Tang had been closely associated with a man named Jiang Yuan. This had gradually circulated in the circles of the capital, and many were curious to discover what this Jiang Yuan possessed to win over the notoriously difficult Tang Chenxin. She gazed at Jiang Yuan's face with intrigue, as if encountering an exceptionally novel phenomenon. Jiang Yuan, puzzled by her gaze, wondered why she looked at him in such a manner. Could this woman be attracted to him? Surely not. That gaze was rather unsettling. He decided it wise to keep his distance. Xian, smiling, remarked, young friend Jiang, it seems you are quite interested in this wall painting from my collection. He gestured towards a majestic traditional mural. Jiang Yuan nodded. Yes, I find it quite appealing. Xian clapped his hands in delight. Excellent. I shall present this exquisite piece as a token of our newfound friendship, if you will accept it. Jiang Yuan smiled graciously. It would be my honor. Both men were straightforward and forthright, engaging in a rapid exchange devoid of superfluous words. However, Zhang Simei felt a twinge of reluctance, dismayed that such a magnificent mural had been so easily relinquished. At that moment, Yao Wenwen and Yao Qianqian returned from the adjoining room, coincidentally witnessing this scene. Xian solemnly presented the mural, beautifully wrapped, to Jiang Yuan. Yao Wenwen approached Jiang Yuan with a gentle smile. Boss, what transpired? Why is someone bestowing such a grand gift upon you? Yao Qianqian, equally perplexed, noted that anyone with eyes could see the mural's immense value, utterly astonished that Jiang Yuan had acquired it without cost. I'll tell you later, Jiang Yuan replied with a grin. Unbeknownst to them, a luxurious black sedan suddenly arrived at the entrance of Xianlini. The design of this black sedan is quite commonplace, ubiquitous in its presence. However, Jiang Yuan cast a fleeting glance and sensed that this vehicle possessed an air of distinction that he could not quite articulate. The shopkeeper Xian's expression shifted upon seeing the car. Being well-versed in various matters, he understood certain secrets. This is a vehicle that only high-ranking officials from the patent office would have the authority to utilize. Such cars are typically reserved for urgent situations or for the transportation of esteemed guests. How could it possibly be parked at my doorstep? The shopkeeper was engulfed in confusion. Zhang Simei, upon spotting the black sedan, felt a surge of opportunistic thoughts, pondering whether she might capitalize on this unexpected circumstance to gain some advantage. As the thoughts of those present diverged, a middle-aged man, tall and upright as a spear, gracefully descended from the vehicle. Is that Director Zhang from the patent office? What brings him here? Both Xian and Zhang Simei were perplexed. Director Zhang was a figure of considerable stature, wielding significant power within the patent office in the capital. It was uncommon for him to personally handle affairs, as he typically delegated such tasks to his subordinates. Upon entering Xianlin Art, Director Zhang surveyed the surroundings with an air of nonchalance until his gaze settled on Jiang Yuan, at which point he exhaled a sigh of relief. You must be Brother Jiang Yuan, he said with a gentle smile. We at the patent office extend to you an invitation of SSS level specification, and we hope you will graciously accept our sincere request. Upon hearing these words, both Xian and Zhang Simei underwent a dramatic change in expression, their astonishment palpable. Yao Qianqian was equally taken aback, her mind racing with disbelief. The shopkeeper Xian was in turmoil, unable to quell the storm of emotions within. His status was not insignificant. He was aware of many details that ordinary individuals could not fathom. An SSS-level invitation from a patent office. What does that signify? Only those who have made remarkable contributions to the nation and its people, individuals worthy of being hailed as paragons of excellence, would merit such a prestigious invitation from the patent office. This is the highest level of invitation, without exception. Today, Jiang Yuan had delivered an abundance of surprises. The shopkeeper had initially perceived him merely as the proprietor of a gaming company, someone who shared a common interest in fine spirits. Yet, he had not anticipated that Jiang Yuan harbored such a concealed identity, one that marked him as a talent of extraordinary merit for the Dragon Country. Such individuals deserve respect and admiration wherever they may go. Initially, he felt a pang of regret for the exquisite painting he had gifted, but now that sentiment dissipated, replaced by a sense of pride. Bestowing such a precious token upon a person of Jiang Yuan's caliber was undeniably a matter of great prestige. He was indeed deserving of that painting. Meanwhile, Yao Qianqian stood in stunned silence, her mind blank. Was everything Jiang Yuan had said truly accurate? Did he genuinely possess such remarkable patents? She struggled to contain her astonishment, her gaze fixated on Jiang Yuan, desperately seeking clues on his countenance. Chapter 219. Declining the invitation in the delicate depths of Yao Qianqian's eyes, there resided an overwhelming sense of astonishment and perplexity. Initially, she had presumed that Jiang Yuan was merely indulging in a whimsical fancy, having acquired some spurious academic patents in hopes of fortuitously striking gold. She had only consented to accompany him on this journey out of a promise made to her elder sister. However, to her utter astonishment, Jiang Yuan had indeed garnered the recognition of the patent office, an unexpected triumph she could scarcely fathom. Moreover, the fact that representatives from the patent office had personally extended the invitation was nothing short of remarkable. Jiang Yuan, are you not going soon? Yao Xianxian could not help but exclaim. In her eyes, the patent office in the capital was akin to a grand and enigmatic sanctuary, and receiving an invitation from such an esteemed institution was tantamount to a rare stroke of fortune accrued over lifetimes. Had she been the one to receive such an invitation, she would have undoubtedly been overjoyed, eagerly following along with an exuberant spirit. Meanwhile, Zhang Ximei and shopkeeper Xian were engulfed in a tempest of emotions. While Yao Xianxian merely understood that the invitation from the patent office was exceptional, they alone comprehended the tremendous prestige and rarity of an SSS-level invitation. Young friend Jiang Yuan, matters must be prioritized. If you have business to attend to, it would be wise to proceed, shopkeeper Xian gently advised. Zhang Ximei, with a hint of jealousy, allowed a soft huff. To receive an SSS-level invitation from the patent office was something that stirred her own desires. Yet, to everyone's astonishment, Jiang Yuan slowly shook his head, declining the invitation. I have just arrived in the capital and wish to explore the surroundings. This is the foremost commercial street, and I have yet to fully experience it, Jiang Yuan stated nonchalantly. The onlookers, upon hearing his words, nearly stumbled in disbelief, collectively exclaiming their admiration. To reject the distinguished invitation of the patent office simply to indulge in shopping? Goodness. This individual was either a lunatic or an extraordinary magnate. Yao Xianxian, bewildered, stammered, You. How can you refuse their invitation? Do you even know who they are? Jiang Yuan cast a sidelong glance at her, asserting firmly, My own sentiments take precedence. Who decrees that I must heed their invitation? His words, imbued with a distinct personality, left the gathered crowd momentarily dumbfounded. Shopkeeper Xian chuckled wryly, reflecting, This temperament resembles my own in my youth, too obstinate. My little grandson possesses the same spirit. Once he makes up his mind, not even the strongest persuasion will sway him. Zhang Ximei secretly laughed in her heart, thinking him ungrateful for daring to refuse the patent office's invitation. She eagerly glanced at Director Zhang from the patent office, anticipating a furious outburst, hoping he would deliver a severe reprimand to this audacious Jiang Yuan. However, to her utter surprise, an unexpected turn of events unfolded before her eyes. Director Zhang not only displayed no signs of anger or displeasure, but rather, his countenance remained adorned with a warm smile. He bowed slightly, exuding an amiable demeanor, tinged with a hint of apology. I apologize for our oversight. We fail to consider that your arrival coincides with a moment of great enthusiasm. Our neglect is regrettable, and we hope you can forgive us. Director Zhang's voice was laden with sincere remorse, as if they had committed an unforgivable transgression. His demeanor was undoubtedly one of profound humility. Zhang Ximei was rendered speechless, frozen in place. Was this truly the same patent office notorious for its arrogance? When did their temperament become so amiable? Zhang Ximei was taken aback. The shopkeeper Xian was equally astonished. The patent office had a reputation for its autocratic and eccentric nature. Yet their attitude towards Jiang Yuan was unexpectedly cordial, a significant departure from what one would anticipate. After a moment of contemplation, Director Zhang remarked, Please do visit us after you have enjoyed yourself. Jiang Yuan casually nodded then, with a hint of impatience, gestured for him to leave. Director Zhang forced a wry smile, recognizing that he should not intrude further upon Jiang Yuan's enjoyment, and hurriedly departed. The hierarchical dynamics were all too apparent, the power imbalance starkly evident. The atmosphere in the room shifted to a hushed stillness upon his exit, as if even the sound of a falling pin could be discerned. Zhang Ximei was the first to shatter this silence, unable to refrain from asking, "You just turn them down? Do you know what the Beijing Patent Office represents?" Jiang Yuan glanced at her and replied coolly, "What I choose to refuse is none of your concern." This woman harbored ill intentions, repeatedly obstructing his endeavors, and Jiang Yuan held no fondness for her. Zhang Ximei, exasperated, retorted, "How can you speak like that?" The shopkeeper, Xian, interjected to ease the tension, saying, "It is merely a trivial matter. Why should you both be angered? If you wish to explore, I have several recommended establishments." He chuckled and had Xiao Qi present a travel guide adorned with the distinctive emblem of Xianlin art. The shopkeeper added, "The proprietors of these venues are all well acquainted with me. Present this upon your arrival, and they will surely expedite your entry." Jiang Yuan accepted the gift with surprise. Possessing such a token would indeed afford him the privilege of bypassing queues. What a valuable item. Zhang Ximei, witnessing Jiang Yuan acquiring yet another advantage, felt a surge of irritation. He had not only usurped the mural she coveted, but had also overshadowed her on multiple occasions, inciting her jealousy. However, she was no fool. After a brief contemplation, she discerned the crux of the day's events. Given the earlier information regarding Jiang Yuan's close ties with the young lady of the Tang family, it was evident that his presence here, purchasing a mural, was in preparation for the upcoming centennial celebration hosted by the Tang family. On that day, she too would attend in a special capacity, providing ample opportunity for her to exact retribution for Jiang Yuan's perceived discourtesy today. Zhang Ximei shot a glance at Jiang Yuan, let out a soft huff, and then bid farewell to the shopkeeper, saying, "I have matters to attend to. I shall return another time to support your business." After the two departed, the onlookers in the room turned their attention to Jiang Yuan. The individual who undoubtedly stole the spotlight today is none other than him. After leaving an address for the shopkeeper of Xian, Jiang Yuan took his leave, realizing that staying here to accompany the onlookers held little appeal. Clutching the travel guide gifted by the shopkeeper, he couldn't help but smile slightly at the sight of several establishments. At Shiweiju, the plethora of signature spicy dishes was astonishing. Hot pot, water-boiled fish, spicy stir-fried pot, mapo tofu, fish-flavored shredded pork, sauerkraut fish. It was all perfectly suited to his palate. Jiang Yuan's favorite flavor was undoubtedly spicy, embodying a rather insatiable craving for heat, and he promptly resolved to indulge in a delightful meal at Shiweiju. Meanwhile, Yao Qianqian, walking somewhat anxiously behind Jiang Yuan, appeared eager to voice her thoughts, yet found herself at a loss for words. Her impression of Jiang Yuan was gradually undergoing a transformation. Chapter 220. The pretentious classmate deep within Jiang Yuan's heart. There were no other thoughts, only the desire to indulge as a true gourmand, savoring the renowned spicy cuisine of the capital city. The distance between Shiweiju and Xianlin was not great. Soon, Jiang Yuan arrived at the entrance of Shiweiju, accompanied by Yao Qianqian and Yao Wenwen. However, upon their arrival, they were unexpectedly called out by someone. "Jiang Yuan? Is that you?" Turning around, Jiang Yuan found a young man, unfamiliar yet oddly familiar, staring at him in astonishment. "I am Lu Mingzhang. We were classmates for a year in high school before I transferred. It's understandable if you don't remember me." Jiang Yuan recalled that during his second year of high school, he had a rather amicable relationship with a chubby classmate who had later transferred to another school, following his parents to a larger city. He never anticipated encountering him here. Moreover, Lu Mingzhang had transformed remarkably, once weighing no less than 300 pounds. He now appeared to be just over 100, his features refined, if not quite matching Jiang Yuan's own charm. He had certainly become a moderately handsome young man. "You work at Shiweiju? Seems like you're doing well," Jiang Yuan remarked with a smile. Lu Mingzhang scratched his head and feigned a sigh. "I'm actually struggling. All our classmates have soared to great heights while I remain tied to my parents' small restaurant. The business may seem flourishing on the outside, but our annual profits are pitifully meager." Jiang Yuan replied, "I've heard that the affluent nowadays often feign poverty, subtly revealing their true wealth in the process, creating a facade of superiority. As the saying goes, it's easy to evade the obvious, but the subtlety is much harder to guard against. The old tricks have lost their appeal." He had come across numerous discussions online about this trend, but never did he expect to witness it firsthand. Yet, rather than exposing the act, Jiang Yuan donned an expression that encouraged further performance. He even played along, saying, "Oh, I see. Sure Wei Ju is quite the establishment. It's surprising that it's your parents' venture." Lu Mingzhang continued his charade of lament, his face awash with sorrow as he elaborated on the hardships. "My parents' greatest regret in life is opening this small restaurant here. You wouldn't believe how laborious it is to earn a living in the service industry." Jiang Yuan found the situation amusing, maintaining a facade of collaboration. "But surely, the earnings aren't negligible? This is the famous Longwei Avenue, the premier shopping street." Lu Mingzhang waved a hand dismissively, his expression one of heartbreak. "In this big city, housing prices are exorbitantly high, no matter how much one earns. Affording a decent home remains a distant dream. Frankly, I envy those who live in smaller cities. It's so much more comfortable and relaxed." With each passing moment, Jiang Yuan found the performance increasingly amusing, and even Yao Wenwen beside him could no longer contain her laughter. It was then that Lu Mingzhang noticed Yao Wenwen and her companion, Yao Qianqian, two stunning beauties radiating vibrance. His eyes sparkled with interest as he inquired of Jiang Yuan, "Who are these two?" "Oh, it's all my sister," Jiang Yuan replied. Lu Mingzhang immediately thumped his chest and exclaimed, "You're here to dine, right? Rest assured, I will ensure you are well taken care of." He led Jiang Yuan and the others into the dining establishment, a restaurant adorned with the ancient charm of the Dragon Kingdom, steeped in an atmosphere rich with literary elegance. Between the customers' seating, bamboo curtains provided privacy, while the walls were adorned with landscape paintings and lanterns, creating a poetic ambience. Jiang Yuan casually selected a private room and requested the menu, ready to place their orders. After a long journey, their stomachs were already grumbling with hunger. Given the opportunity, Jiang Yuan might devour an entire cow with a sprinkle of salt and pepper. He began to order 1 serving of our special beef fat hot pot broth, 2 portions of tripe, fatty beef, tofu, and bean curd skin. Yao Qianqian and Yao Wenwen also placed their orders. Li Zhuang white meat, spicy bamboo tripe, couples lung slices, cabbage, and tofu. Seizing the moment, Lu Mingzhang interjected, "These appetizers are what we typically serve to regular guests. But, Jiang Yuan, as my old classmate, I shall present you with something exceptional." Jiang Yuan smirked inwardly, recognizing that Lu Mingzhang was beginning his charade. However, he feigned ignorance and inquired, "What exceptional item?" Lu Mingzhang, having lamented his financial woes for some time, eagerly responded, "This brings us to our restaurant's hidden royal specialty, the spicy king crab. Not to mention our chef is a master. This king crab has quite the pedigree, as we have special cooperative channels." Yao Wenwen, aware of Lu Mingzhang's intentions, chuckled to herself and decided to play along, feigning curiosity. "What special cooperative channels?" With pride, Lu Mingzhang elaborated, "Ordinary farmed king crabs are hardly valuable. You can find them for a few hundred in the market. However, ours are harvested from the world's premier coral sea, transported at exorbitant costs, ensuring they arrive swiftly. You might struggle to find such deep-sea king crabs for tens of thousands." "The coral sea?" Jiang Yuan chuckled, bemused that his old classmate's pretentiousness inadvertently revealed a location he was quite interested in, as he owned a small paradise island in the Coral Sea and lamented not having the time to visit it. "Tens of thousands for a king crab?" Lu Mingzhang waved his hand dismissively. "You needn't think of it as overly expensive. We are old classmates, so this meal is on me." Yao Wenwen, unable to contain herself, remarked, "We actually think it's too cheap." Lu Mingzhang assumed she was merely being modest and smiled, choosing not to respond. Jiang Yuan, too, found no need to expose his classmate's pretentious display, recognizing that there was no malice in it, just a bit of showmanship. After approximately 10 minutes, a lavish platter of spicy king crab was presented. The vibrant red chili oil and succulent crab meat lay gracefully on the serving dish, emanating an enticing aroma of spiciness and freshness. Jiang Yuan picked up a bowl of rice, transforming into an enthusiastic diner, relishing every bite with delight. Lu Mingzhang wore a smug expression, feeling particularly proud in front of his old classmates, basking in the comfort of the moment. However, midway through the meal, a server hurriedly entered the room. "Young Master Lu, a customer by the name of Zhang is dissatisfied with our dishes and is causing a scene. Our manager is unable to handle it. Could you please take a look?" Lu Mingzhang's expression shifted dramatically as he quickly rose to his feet, stating, "I must attend to some matters." Jiang Yuan, intrigued, noted the recurrence of the surname Zhang, having just dealt with the disruptive Zhang Ximei. Another individual bearing the same surname had now emerged to create further disturbances. Were all those named Zhang in the capital so unruly? Chapter 221 Encounter with Sun Yunji. "I shall accompany you to take a look," Jiang Yuan remarked. Lu Mingzhang hesitated momentarily, Yet recognizing Jiang Yuan's good intentions as a fellow alumnus, he ultimately acquiesced. Jiang Yuan then instructed the Yao sisters to remain at their current location and continue their meal. Following Lu Mingzhang, he soon arrived at the troubled private room, number 1314. As the three of them walked, the waiter quietly elucidated the unfolding situation. Indeed, the guest surnamed Zhang was dining amicably until he complained that our M9 Wagyu was sliced too thin and lacked flavor. He called for a manager, and somehow a verbal dispute ensued. Now it has escalated into a considerable uproar. Upon hearing this, Lu Mingzhang felt a surge of indignation. The Wagyu served at his establishment was of the highest quality, and the butcher possessed decades of experience. How could anyone find fault? It was likely that some scoundrel was deliberately causing trouble, perhaps a competitor attempting to sabotage his reputation. The establishment, located in a bustling area with high foot traffic, had long been the envy of many peers. Competitors, driven by jealousy, might resort to such underhanded tactics to tarnish his name and promote their own businesses. Although this form of unscrupulous competition was despicable, it was, regrettably, quite common. The more Lu Mingzhang pondered, the angrier he became, and he contemplated summoning several security personnel to support him. Stay calm. We shall assess the situation upon arrival, Jiang Yuan advised. Sensing that this did not appear to be the work of competitors, Lu Mingzhang felt somewhat displeased but recognized Jiang Yuan's good intentions and refrained from openly contradicting him. Upon entering private room 1314, they encountered a crew-cut young man, his face radiating discontent. Surrounding him were several striking young women, one of whom had an exceptionally slender figure, though her mask and glasses obscured her features. Upon seeing the young man, Lu Mingzhang's legs nearly buckled beneath him, and he silently rejoiced for heeding Jiang Yuan's counsel and refraining from calling for backup. Otherwise, the consequences would have been dire. Brother Zhang, I see you're dining with us today, Lu Mingzhang said, adopting a tone dripping with flattery. If my staff have offended you in any way, rest assured, I will ensure a satisfactory resolution. Jiang Yuan observed his old classmate with amusement. Your previous demeanor before me was not quite so obsequious. He also found himself intrigued by the identity of the crew-cut young man who could transform the air of a prestigious dining establishment into a sycophant with just his presence. Could he be related to the illustrious Zhang family of the capital? Jiang Yuan mused. The crew-cut young man, his voice booming, nearly shouted, How can your M9 Wagyu be so atrocious? Do you know who I invited today? You have embarrassed me, and I demand to know how you intend to take responsibility for this matter. Lu Mingzhang was startled, his entire body trembling, nearly overwhelmed by the impulse to kneel and apologize. He timidly inquired, May I ask who you have invited? The young man with a buzz cut was about to dismiss him with a curt retort when he noticed the girl, masked and bespectacled, casting intrigued glances at Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan? Curiosity sparked within him. Could she be someone familiar? The girl smiled gently, gradually removing her mask and glasses to reveal a visage of ethereal beauty. Her charm was as simple and refreshing as a delicate flower, yet it radiated an undeniable vitality of youth that captured everyone's attention. Sun Yunj? Jiang Yuan was taken aback. Since their brief encounter at the audition event, he had heard nothing from her. He had never anticipated meeting her today at Shuiju. However, it made sense as Shuiju, being the premier commercial street in Longhua, attracted countless diners, naturally drawing many to this trendy establishment. With Sun Yunj's immense popularity, she had donned a mask and sunglasses to avoid recognition by her fans. She flashed a sweet smile at Jiang Yuan and said, I came here to check in with a few friends. I never expected to run into you. The young man with a buzz cut felt a twinge of jealousy, having never witnessed Sun Yunj smile like that. He had originally intended to manipulate the situation by having a few of her friends feign a chance encounter and invite him to join them, hoping to enhance his standing with her. Yet, before he could execute his plan, Jiang Yuan had unexpectedly appeared, seemingly garnering Sun Yunj's favor. This left him feeling quite discontented. The buzz-cut youth glared at Jiang Yuan with a chilling indifference, while Jiang Yuan smiled slightly, engaging Sun Yunj in conversation as if oblivious to the tension. I'm here for a meal as well. This is my old classmate's restaurant, he remarked. Sun Yunj chuckled. I didn't realize our fate was so intertwined. We meet again so soon. Jiang Yuan mused. Indeed, what a twist of fate. The buzz-cut youth seethed internally, growing increasingly agitated as their discussion of fate seemed to exclude him, nearly causing him to explode with frustration. Observing this, Lu Mingzhang quickly interjected, pulling Jiang Yuan aside. Jiang Yuan, do you know who that buzz-cut man is? Lu Mingzhang's expression turned grave, devoid of any trace of jest. Who? Jiang Yuan inquired. Zhang Jinghua, you're new here and have no idea how formidable he is. Jiang Yuan responded with a nonchalant "Oh." Zhang Jinghua was not a mere brainless second-generation rich kid. Rather, he was quite cunning, akin to a male counterpart of a high-tier manipulative woman. He did not confront or insult Jiang Yuan outright. Instead, his expressions shifted until he finally wore a facade of amiable politeness. Yunj, it appears this young man is your friend, Jiang Yuan, is it? Zhang Jinghua chuckled, exuding the demeanor of a smiling tiger. Why had I never heard of this young gentleman's name in the capital before? He appears to be not from around here, does he? Jiang Yuan nodded and replied, Indeed, I hail from the South City. Upon hearing the mention of the South City, a flicker of disdain briefly crossed Zhang Jinghua's eyes. It was truly absurd that someone from such a remote and impoverished place could garner the admiration of a superstar like Sun Yunj. Nonetheless, he was acutely aware of the importance of maintaining his composure and refrain from voicing such sentiments. The South City, a fine place indeed, Zhang Jinghua feigned astonishment. However, since you're new to this city and a friend of Yunj, allow me to arrange your accommodation. My family operates several five-star hotels, and you may choose whichever you prefer. Moreover, since this establishment belongs to your classmate, let us consider today's incident settled. Upon hearing this, Lu Mingzhang was immediately elated. Yet, Jiang Yuan shook his head and replied, I own a residence in the capital and require no assistance with lodging. Chapter 222. The astonished Lu classmate upon the utterance of Jiang Yuan's words, a palpable silence enveloped the atmosphere within the venue. Lu Mingzhang, in a state of anxious urgency, leaned towards Jiang Yuan, whispering a plea not to decline the invitation, for it would cause the other party great embarrassment. However, Jiang Yuan appeared impervious to his counsel, remaining resolutely silent. Zhang Jinghua, maintaining an air of composure despite a distinct undercurrent of displeasure, skillfully suppressed his irritation. Jiang Yuan, my young friend, he remarked, his words laced with a subtle sting. Perhaps your residence in the capital is situated in a rather obscure area. Why not consider experiencing our 7-star luxury hotel instead? Rest assured, I shall endeavor to provide a discount. While ostensibly offering assistance to Jiang Yuan, Zhang Jinghua's insinuation was a veiled attempt to undermine him. In his eyes, Jiang Yuan, merely in his 20s and hailing from the impoverished southern city, could scarcely afford property in the capital, where real estate prices were exorbitantly steep. Even he would tread carefully before making such a purchase in a prime location. Moreover, even if one were to entertain the notion that Jiang Yuan possessed a property, it was likely a dilapidated unit in a remote locale. His words served to strip Jiang Yuan of any pretense. Yet Jiang Yuan responded with unflappable poise. My residence is not located in an obscure area. Zhang Jinghua chuckled derisively, perceiving Jiang Yuan's words as a desperate facade. After all, with the presence of the exquisite goddess Sun Yunj, no man of sound mind would wish to appear foolish before her. He feigned astonishment, inquiring, And where, pray tell, is your residence situated? Jiang Yuan pondered briefly before replying, In the Shengda district. The mention of Shengda district elicited gasps of astonishment from the young women accompanying Sun Yunj, who quickly covered their mouths in disbelief. This district represented the zenith of urban splendor in the capital, a hub of premier educational and medical resources. The property prices in such an area could only be described as terrifyingly exorbitant. While property prices in the capital were already staggering, those in Shengda district were so outrageous they could shock one into a faint and then back to consciousness. Yet, Zhang Jinghua remained skeptical, inwardly thinking, I am not one of those naive young girls to be so easily deceived. With a glint of mischief in his eye, he responded, This young man Jiang Yuan, so remarkably youthful, has managed to acquire property in such a central locale. Truly, his future is boundless. With a deft shift in conversation, he continued, In fact, I too possess a residence in Shengda district. Since fate has so fortuitously brought me together with Yunj and her friends, and you as well, Jiang Yuan, how about I extend an invitation for a gathering at my home? What say you? His proposition was delivered with casual elegance, revealing a man well-versed in the art of social maneuvering. Within certain circles of the capital, hosting a gathering was a prevalent social strategy. Unless one harbored an intense aversion to the host, declining an invitation to share a drink at a party would be deemed quite improper. Jiang Yuan's lips curled into a slight smile, fully aware of the intentions of the other party. Deciding to play along, he readily agreed. Very well, he responded without hesitation. Zhang Jinghua secretly chuckled to himself, thinking that the young man was still too naive, easily provoked into compliance. Soon, he would taste the bitter fruits of his decision. Lu Mingzhang cautioned Jiang Yuan, "You mustn't go. It will only lead to humiliation. Find an excuse to leave at once." Jiang Yuan smiled, neither affirming nor denying his friend's warning. He rose and departed from the private room 1314, returning to his own. At that moment, Yao Wenwen and Yao Qianqian were enjoying their meal heartily. Upon seeing Jiang Yuan return, they chimed, "Boss, come and eat." Jiang Yuan responded with a brief acknowledgement and proceeded to devour his food with great enthusiasm. After approximately 10 minutes, the three of them had satisfied their appetites. Jiang Yuan instructed, "You two should head to the house in Shengde District. I will join you shortly." With that, he produced a set of property certificates and handed them to Yao Wenwen. Yao Wenwen was already well aware of Jiang Yuan's capabilities, and she calmly began to count the certificates. Meanwhile, Yao Qianqian's eyes widened in disbelief at the scene unfolding before her. 1, 2, 3, 4. My heavens, how many property certificates are there? Could it be that an entire building belongs to you? She exclaimed in astonishment. This moment was fortuitously witnessed by Lu Mingzhang, who had entered to further advise Jiang Yuan. His mouth fell agape, as if he had been struck speechless by an oversized sterile egg. "Jiang Yuan, were you not exaggerating just now?" Lu Mingzhang gulped hard, pinching the soft flesh on his arm until a sharp pain confirmed that this was indeed reality. No. Jiang Yuan, you must be honest with me. Are these property certificates genuine, or are you merely fabricating a fade? Lu Mingzhang struggled to accept this new reality, beginning to concoct his own theories. Jiang Yuan, bemused, replied, "You'll find out soon enough. Let's head to the car." Lu Mingzhang's mind was filled with great uncertainty. Was Jiang Yuan merely putting on a show, or did he truly possess such wealth? As they made their way to the parking lot, they coincidentally encountered Zhang Jinghua and his companions, who were preparing to get into their vehicle. With a chuckle, he patted his car. "I didn't bring anything fancy today, just a Pagani Huayra." Lu Mingzhang, standing behind Jiang Yuan, gasped, "That car's base price is around 30 million. How can he call it nothing special?" Meanwhile, Yao Wenwen, feeling indignant, hurried to the parking space to retrieve Jiang Yuan's vehicle. The Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost emerged like a magnificent silver butterfly, fluttering its wings. The girls in Zhang Jinghua's car gasped in unison. "Isn't that a limited edition Rolls-Royce? I have never encountered such a style before. Yet I assure you it must be exceedingly expensive, the kind that astounds one with its exorbitance." Perhaps that young man was not merely boasting. He might indeed possess a residence in the prestigious Shengde District. Upon hearing the women's remarks, Zhang Jinghua's expression darkened considerably. He realized he had been rather careless, failing to present his finest vehicle. This Jiang Yuan likely borrowed or rented a car from somewhere to put on a facade. However, I am eager to see how you will maintain this charade. Chapter 223. The entire building belongs to Jiang Yuan. Sun Yunj approached Jiang Yuan with a gentle smile, expressing her admiration for his car. "This vehicle is truly remarkable. May I accompany you in it?" Jiang Yuan, embodying the essence of gentlemanly politeness, replied with a warm smile. Of course. The subtle exchanges between them hinted at a burgeoning affection, an electric spark igniting in the air. Zhang Jinghua, witnessing this scene, seethed with indignation, cursing them under his breath. How could the goddess he so ardently desired, Sun Yunj, willingly choose to ride with another man? "Yunj, don't your friends usually ride with me? Isn't it inappropriate for you not to join them? Are you really opting not to travel with me?" Zhang Jinghua could not restrain his frustration. Sun Yunj cast him a fleeting glance, her silence speaking volumes. Her choice of company was not his concern. Jiang Yuan interjected, "I believe Miss Sun prefers to choose her company without your interference." Zhang Jinghua, stung by the retort and reluctant to lose face before Sun Yunj, swallowed his anger. Nonetheless, he felt a tinge of embarrassment. "You'll regret this," he vowed silently, pressing the accelerator as the car sped away. Sun Yunj smiled faintly as she settled into Jiang Yuan's vehicle. He attentively fastened her seatbelt, and as the soothing melodies of a romantic ballad filled the air, the atmosphere became undeniably pleasant. The scene was picturesque, luxurious car, beautiful woman. Jiang Yuan felt a surge of contentment. Meanwhile, Lu Mingzhang, seated in another sleek white sports car, cautioned Jiang Yuan, "Be careful out there." Jiang Yuan smiled knowingly. Perhaps it was not he who should be wary. With a gentle press on the accelerator, he maneuvered the Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost forward with remarkable speed. Its superior performance, coupled with Jiang Yuan's exceptional driving skills, allowed him to catch up with Zhang Jinghua, who had taken off earlier. Jiang Yuan let out a loud whistle, teasingly suggesting that Zhang Jinghua was merely a novice behind the wheel. Enraged, Zhang Jinghua seethed. You think you can outpace me? Not so easily. He pressed the gas pedal to the floor, determined to leave Jiang Yuan in the dust. However, this played right into Jiang Yuan's hands. With a dismissive smirk, he deliberately slowed down, creating the illusion of being left behind. Zhang Jinghua, seeing Jiang Yuan fall back, was elated. He turned to the group of young women in his car, boasting loudly, "Look at that country bumpkin. He clearly can't drive. He was just foolishly whistling and provoking me. But with a mere display of my skills, I've left him far behind. When we arrive,